What's going on, Internet? The Black Okage here, aka TBH. And to be honest, I'd like to welcome you all back to the Gaming Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned into episode 175. If you're watching the video version of the show at youtube.com/GI updates, know this show is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. If you're watching on Apple or Spotify, please rate the show 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, and more importantly, please hit that new hype button. When you hit the hype button, the show will appear on YouTube's new hype charts, which helps bring in new viewers for the world's best weekly gaming podcast. Also, follow the podcast on social media. We drop daily content on our pages. We're available on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our handle on most platforms is at GI Updates, with the exception being Facebook. Our Facebook is GI Podcast, so facebook.com/GI Podcast. If you prefer Discord, discord.gg/GI Updates. Links to all our stuff will be in the description box below at youtube.com/GI Update. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce you to my co-hosts. The first of which I'm happy to announce is finally embracing his role as a game dev on Twitter when he responded to some post saying, you know, as a game dev myself, gaming ethos, stay with us, people.
You know what's crazy? When I was writing it out, I stopped myself because I literally saw I wrote that and I was like, oh God. And I was going to delete it. And then I said, nah, screw it, I'll hit it.
The agenda's been pushed.
It is working. Yeah.
Let's go. And my second co-host is the only person on earth I've ever heard claim she's trying to slowly play the Neo 3 demo because she wants to savor the taste. It's 5,000 watts. Say what up to the people.
Hello. I'm trying not to go too far to avoid spoilers for the homies. I have access to the full game, okay? I don't have to try that hard, though. I'm the slowest player ever.
And last but certainly not least is the man that's still upset when he found out last week his Rams weren't going to the Super Bowl. UTX, I remember Marshall Faulk the Don. Say what up to the people.
Hey, shout out to you. You're not even a football fan. You remember Marshall Faulk, so
yeah, I remember.
Kudos to you. Unless you did your research.
No, I know. Yo, hold on. In my defense, like I fell out of football, probably around high school, but I used to be a Madden head back in the day. I put Madden 04 in my top 100. I used to be into a little bit.
You did. All right. So you know both because of Madden.
I know the old players. I don't know the new players.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I want to remind everybody, as we're recording this, the first day of February, aka the first day of Black History Month. So shout out to all my Black people out there. Shout out to everybody supporting the pod. So I want to say that first and foremost. Secondly, it's all good, man. We're a week past the Rams. We still got the Super Bowl next week. So we chilling, man. We chilling. I'm ready to pod. Got the fresh cut. I'm ready, bro. Let's get it.
I should have got my kufi out the closet. Maybe next week.
Next week. Let's do it.
All right. So this is how we're going to start out the podcast, the leading conversation. One major game has released in the past week since the past podcast, and it has been the talk of the town. I am talking about the new hero shooter from some former Apex and Titanfall developers, a new studio known as Wildlight Entertainment. They just released a free-to-play shooter known as Highguard, which when it launched, and we'll get into a little bit of that later, it was a 3v3, what they're referring to as a raid shooter, where basically you start off reinforcing walls, kind of like Rainbow Six Siege, setting up your base. Then you go out, you loot some. After that, you fight in the middle for a sword. And if you get that sword, you're allowed to, and you dunk it into their door, their key, basically. You're basically allowed to enter their base where you have to plant bombs and get their health down to 0. So in my opinion, it's like a mix between Apex and Rainbow Six Siege with some other elements in there. It has came out in the past week, and it has been a whirlwind of a week. So we're going to be sharing our impressions as well as talking about some other topics surrounding Highguard. I'm a gentleman, so ladies first. Give us the good, bad, and the ugly watts on Highguard.
So I do think that Highguard is fun. And by that, I mean, the shooting feels good. And just to know, I've been playing on a controller and I've been playing with a full team. So I can't speak on M&K and I can't speak on
I didn't know you play controller.
Yeah, I play controller.
JG Ethos, do you have anything to say? Because they love to make fun of me that I'm a controller warrior. Anything to say?
I mean, I was surprised myself a little bit.
Too.
Yeah.
I was feeling a little betrayed. I'm not gonna lie.
They care less when you drop 33 kills.
Yes,
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
She was dropping points. So I only get mad when you play controller and we lose.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm not saying any names here.
The controller warriors were kind of holding it down because TVH also was dropping the kills. He was highest when we were playing, so consistently. Yeah.
Controller feels good. Controller feels real good. I've actually heard that controller feels better than M&K for people who have tried both, but I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, shooting feels good. I think movement feels really good. They have this cool thing where you can get on a mount and you can pretty much get on and off whenever you want. There's a very short cooldown. So you can do cool things like you jump in the air and then you summon the mount and then you can jump up on the mount, get off it, slide, bunny hop. They have a lot of pretty deep movement going on in there. So that's pretty fun to master. The game mode itself, it works in like 3 kind of segments. So the first segment, you're fortifying your base. The next segment kind of works almost like a BR where you're going out there and looting. But there's, in the 3v3 mode at least, there's not a lot of potential for fighting other people because they're looting on their side of the map, we're looting on our side of the map. And then the next part kind of plays out like capture the flag, where there's a central objective that spawns and you have to pick it up and take it to the enemy base. And then once you do that, it plays out like a search and destroy, where you're trying to get in there and plant bombs or defuse bombs, stop them from planting bombs. So I think the mode is actually quite fun. Like there's lots of different things going on. Especially when you get to the capturing the flag moment, there can be some chaos in the open world. And then when you get to the actual base where you plant it, it kind of turns almost into an arena shooter. Like you're just playing like an OG FPS arena shooter, which is kind of nice. So overall, I've had a lot of fun playing Highguard. I have about, I think, 15 hours in Highguard at this point. I found multiple of the characters to be pretty fun to play as well. And I think that the guns also feel good. So overall, I've had a good time playing Highguard. I think the downside for me is the preparation stage where you're just reinforcing your walls. It kind of feels like, yeah, I'm just reinforcing whatever wall at the moment. It would be kind of nice if they added more defensive options for you to do. So you have more things to kind of choose between. Because at the moment, it's like 3 of us are just choosing to reinforce any wall we see pretty much. So it would be nice if there were more options there. But yeah, overall, I think it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty fun.
I think from my perspective, I think the biggest thing that I learned in this past week is I think the game would have really benefited from doing beta, whether it's closed or it's open, so they can get some feedback because it launched with a 3v3 mode. And a lot of people, I think most of it here were okay with it with our pros and cons with it, but a lot of people felt like there wasn't enough to do. So then literally out of nowhere, they dropped a 5v5 mode, and a pretty quick patch. And personally, I like the new 5v5 mode, but like it's a little too hectic in comparison. Like 3v3, I kind of agree with what you were saying, Watts. Like a lot of times in the looting phase, it feels like maybe there's not enough action. It's not till you get to the raid. But then when they do the 5v5, it feels like it's too much action. Like it was way too hectic. And you can get shredded really quickly in the 5v5 mode because there's so many people on the map. So I'm starting to lean towards the people who are saying maybe they need to try the 4v4. I think they need to just try it all. I think they should do a 4v4 mode as well to see how it feels, because based on playing those two, I'm starting to think that 4 may be the sweet spot, because you got to be like, 5 is fun, but I feel like I got to be off caffeine when I play it. I don't know if I'm older, but like it's so fast paced. It's a little too cracked out. So I'm hoping they try the 4. As regards to everything else, I think the gunplay is really good. I've been playing on controller, although I did briefly try mouse and keyboard. I can't give too much on it, but what I will say is my controller disconnected at one point while we were supposed to be planting the key, and I had to hop on the mouse and keyboard, and instantly, like 5 seconds later, I got a kill. So it felt fine for that little bit that I played. I'm gaming ambidextrous. I was able to do it, baby. But the controller feels really good. The movement tech, I find it very fascinating that some people have been complaining that the shooting and the movement feels really weird, and I feel like that's disingenuous, because like if you played it, I don't want to say this, if you played it and you gave it a good chance and you still didn't like the shooting, I'm not gonna knock you. But there's a lot of people out here, I don't think they really played it, because there's some crazy in this game. Like it's especially in the 5v5, it's too cracked out. Being able to hop on your horse, jump off, slide down a hill, hit an angle for the flank, and then pop him in the head with like a sniper. Like you can do some really cool shit in this game that makes you feel like a total badass. I think one of my biggest complaints though is people are talking about the map size. The map size doesn't bother me because the horse, even in whether it's 3v3 or the 5, the map doesn't bother me because the horse is so fast. What does bother me though is inside the map, I feel like there's not enough loot. And then they introduce the 5v5 mode, and it doesn't feel like it's enough there. So then like it feels like at the end of the game, some people are, they got the high armor, some people got low armor because everybody isn't looted out. So I think they need to.
Can I jump in on the 5v5 loot thing? So I actually kind of liked that there almost wasn't enough loot for everyone just as a given, because I think one of the biggest issues with Highguard, it's like, okay, we're in the beginning phase, it's all blues. Oh, we're in the next phase, it's all purples. And everyone would have purple, everyone would have gold, everyone would have blue. Whereas like with the loot being a little bit more sparse, you kind of had to choose, or you just wouldn't have everyone having the same thing. So I think that variety of knowing that you're not necessarily going to go up against someone with a blue or a purple or a gold, it can actually have some variety in it. I think that was kind of nice. I do think they need to have more places of interest in general, because it does kind of seem like you're running around in an open area looking for stuff. But it was nice that it wasn't just very samey. It kind of did bring in some variety, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Jay, how you feeling about Highguard?
Yep. The gunplay is 100% the biggest thing for me that made this game fun. Like it legit feels like Apex. Like I felt like it was like riding a bike at this point, which is why I find the people who are complaining about the gunplay and the movement, I'm like, did you play Apex? Did you even play Titanfall? Like, did you play any of these games? Because I find a lot of people were like complaining about other games not having like that cracked out movement tech, but at the same time, you wanted Call of Duty to have that same tech, and like people were getting mad when like you couldn't slide cancel anymore, but like in this game you can still bunny hop. Like there are still some forms of movement that you can still do that again reminds me a lot like Apex, and again it makes sense because it's made for some of the same developers. So I really enjoyed that because I feel like Apex's gunplay is top notch. Like I know that we got off of that game, but I felt some of those same movement and that same feeling was there. So that's where the game completely shines for me. I feel like it's top notch, and a lot of games don't compare, in my opinion, to the way that everything feels for me. Y'all hit on everything else. So 3v3 mode, I do feel like the map was a little too big, and even in the looting phase, I feel like it kind of got boring. And really the only time outside of trying to get the shield breaker was like maybe every now and then you would find an enemy would kind of cross that line on these maps, and like you'll get into some early gunfights before the shield breaker. Like that'll happen every now and then. It happened more in the 5v5 mode, but in 3v3 mode it rarely happens. Every now and then you'll see that. And outside of airdrops, there wasn't really anything else, which kind of going back to Watt's point, there needs to be more like significant points of interest that would entice people to go away from the norm before you got into the shield breaker phase where everybody converges together and then fights to get that shield breaker. So that's an overall loot conversation. Whether in 3v3 or 5v5, I do kind of wish that there was a little bit more loot, or again, at the very least, more points of interest, POIs, in order to entice people to kind of veer off of the beaten path in order to, get into some conflicts before you got into the main conflict. But other than that, man, like I said, I don't really have a problem. The heroes are dope. Obviously, everybody complained about Kai and his old being too long. So that just goes with some tweaks. I think that they do need to tweak the game. Going back to y'all earlier point, there needed to be a beta, or there needed to be maybe like not a week before having that early access to get some of that feedback with you all. Like T-Bags going to the event, I feel like it was way too close before they ended up dropping the game. So I think that this game needed a little bit more time to bake in the oven before finally releasing it. But I do give the dev team props for getting that 5v5 mode out, because I feel like as soon as that happened, it changed a lot of people's minds on this game that were initially just ready to crap on it, because they did before the game even came out. And then when they played the game, they were like, oh, this stuff is boring. And then we see the whole controversy. You play for 10 minutes and then you leave a negative review, which is just absolutely silly, and just I don't know what's that doing for you. But overall, like I said, I had legit fun. I know that a lot of people were hate watching day one and pretty much all throughout last week, just waiting on us to say, man, just game sucks. And we were having fun. Like the 3v3 mode, I was having fun when we got to 5v5 and we all got to play together. That was some chaotic fun. Like I said, it is chaotic for sure, but it was chaotic fun for me. I legit was feeling like every battle, especially when you got into the raid parts, were super intense. And again, some tweaks just need to be made. Like the respawn times on 5v5 maybe need to be a little bit different. It needs to be a little longer. But like I said, it just a little bit of tweak that needs to go on. I want that 4v4 4 mode too, because I do agree with TBH. I think that may be the sweet spot. 5v5 is a little bit too hectic. 4v4 may be the actual sweet spot there. But overall, I enjoyed the game. I don't see any problem with hating on it for no reason. If you don't like it, fine, but at least try it out, because so many people were conflicted, and it's a free game. It doesn't hurt you to just download it and try it out yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit of this being led by an indie studio. And I agree with JG. Kudos to the team for not falling into the trap of the negativity, kind of like the Splitgate team that released that statement, woe is me. You guys, please stop making fun of us. This team could have took the same exact route, and instead, within a week, they heard your feedback and they released a new game mode, and it completely shifted the conversation around the game. And I don't think that happens with like AAA published. I think it's because it is a smaller dev team, and they don't have to answer to any big publisher. They can just do whatever the fuck they want. But that also kind of reinforces my point that you guys probably should have did a beta beforehand to kind of get some of that feedback and make these tweaks beforehand. Because a lot of times you don't get to make a first impression twice. But with them listening to the community, what I will say, the positive that's going here is there has been an uptick in players. I think the launch day, they almost hit like 100,000 players. Then within like 3 days, it had dropped down to like 6,000 players. But then when we were playing the other night and when the 5v5 launched, it was up to like 15,000. I checked this morning, it was at like 13,000. So it's starting to like stabilize, and it's starting to uptick a little bit. Keep listening. You guys got an uphill battle, but keep listening to the community, and you guys might be able to salvage this game, because at bare minimum, it does have its problems, but I do think there's something there. I'm gonna give a couple more pros and cons, and I'm gonna toss it to you, Ethos. The pros, the destruction in the game. I don't feel like anybody mentioned that earlier. The destruction's really good in this game, being able to flank and blow up walls and stuff like that. It's way more than I thought there would be. And then my other negatives would be the bouncing. Kai's ult lasts too long. And then also that dude that summons that green monster that throws the bombs. That lasts way too long as well. They gotta nerf that. And then me personally, I haven't dealt with it, but I'm gonna bring it up because I know some people have. Apparently the optimization is not the best. I'm blessed because I got a 4080 Super. I'm not trying to flex. It just is what it is, man. 4 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm able to power through some stuff. But I can recognize some people aren't. So y'all got to get on that optimization as well. Ethos, how you feeling about Highguard?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what everybody was saying. I don't really have much to add to those points. Yeah, but I do agree with the sentiment that because they are indie, and I when I was tweeting about it, I think some people who I hit a block, I think were just being idiots, and they didn't understand what I was pointing at, because a lot of people were like, well, they've always said they were going to do 5v4 and 5. I don't recall this. I mean, if they did say it, cool, at some point in some interview, but I was like, where did this? We didn't even know about this game existing until Friday, so December. So I'm like, where did some of these people got all this? Like, oh, the dev said they did this. The dev said they were going to do that. Like, I don't know when.
The dev didn't say anything until the game.
Yeah, I was like,
they were radio silent until three days ago before launch.
I don't know where all these people were like trying to tweet at me and be like, oh, the developers said that they were going to do this ahead of time. I'm like, I don't recall. They were silent most of the time, and then they dropped, and they've been silent throughout. Where are you guys getting all this? Like, oh, well, this, like, I've heard that. But what I was trying to say was that the reasoning with them being like an indie studio is really a key point, because it shows that they have the smarts that, and I know this from my experience as a game developer. I know from my experience also making a multiplayer game that very early on, like when you're developing it, when you are building the foundation of your game, if you are smart enough, and obviously you should be, but the smart teams do make their foundation of their game very modular, so that it does allow them that when they are experimenting, when they are prototyping, when it comes to like adding player counts, it's not a huge multi-team agreement of being able to make that change and then having to change several different other areas of like the code base or anything like that in order to get it to work. Like if you do it right, all it should take is most of the time you should just be able to hit a game mode and then change the number, and the game itself should be able to morph itself to work it. But you can see how when we were playing it too, you could see how even when they can shift that, still certain areas of the game still are like imagining it still for 3v3. Like when you load up into the game, you might notice the camera is kind of weird, and it's when they're placing you. It kind of reminds me of, you remember when Halo Infinite came out, and remember how like there was when they had so many people on a team, and there'd be that funny glitch where it would be like camera would focus on each person on the team, and then somebody's like back would be facing like, the camera. It'd be a funny joke. Yeah, it's like stuff like that, where you're not gonna be able to full catch every possibility, but it's your code is flexible enough that no matter if you do these switches, like changing the maps or changing how many people are playing on a map or stuff like that, the game can still run without it hard crashing, and still play, for the most part. And the HUD can auto update correctly to believe that there's gonna be more people. I'm sure they could turn it up to 7, 8, 9, 10. Obviously the con of that is the more assets you have running streaming simultaneously, the harder the performance is going to hit, which is what they warned about 5v5, which is like, even though people are having optimization problems, they probably had the game optimized more towards 3v3. But now that you put 5v5, you do run the risk of, obviously there's going to be more effects, more things running in the background, because you have to keep track of 5 people instead of 3. So that's probably a possibility that obviously, you're going to run into issues of a performance. So I think I like the game. And I will say, I went from like saying like, oh yeah, I enjoy, I have fun playing this game, to like, I genuinely did really enjoy when we were playing 5s. Like I was having a lot of fun. I don't mind the chaos of it. Like it's perfectly fine. I would never use that as like a pillar of competitive, which I feel like the game is definitely headed that way from what I've seen of a lot of the more sweaty aim shooter people. They kind of are trying to turn it into one thing where they're very hardcore, like set on, no, keep it 3. And then some of the more casual people who are just playing it casually, just like play it as 5s, which I think is fun. Every game I think needs that. Like League has that similar thing where they have like ARAM, and Valorant has Team Deathmatch, and even Call of Duty, which is the king of casual games, but like Call of Duty has it has its rank modes, but it also has its casual TDMs and stuff like that everyone plays. So I feel like there's a world where we can have both. And I'd love to see 4v4. I do agree with a lot of people. I think 4v4 is going to be the slot where everyone plays and going to be like, yeah, this is like the perfect amount of chaos. But obviously, it's going to be taking more than just when they just up the player count. They're going to probably have to look at my guess is like the time to kill. So a lot of the weapons might get a rebalance if they do officially change the count to 4 or 5, because what you're saying, which is I think is my biggest complaint about this game is, and it's not even just this game, it just is a lot of shooters in general, especially when you have shields and everything else. Team shooting is just going to be an aspect, because that's the only optimal way that a team can work who has comms is going to, from a competitive standpoint, work together to eliminate another team as fast as possible. Is if you all focus on one target, you can kill them faster than 3 people trying to target different people, or it's easier to do 3v1 and kill somebody than do a bunch of 1v1s 3 times in a row, because you have more opportunities of failing there. So I know this from, and Watts, you probably know too, I know it's from Destiny, because that was literally the meta in Destiny 2. It was just literally just beam somebody as fast, work together, beam down a lane and just shoot whoever, call them out, and just aim every gun you have at them to kill them, so then you can get advantage in trials. So yeah, I don't really know. The only way I think you can solve that is you do increase the TDK, so that you don't feel that feeling of like, oh, I looked and I got melted. Yeah. And I know some people want more of a Halo aspect, where like I feel like that's been the pro of Halo, is Halo's never felt like that type of game where you get beamed and it's over. You've always felt like there's a window where you can kind of turn on them if you're a better shot, or you have a way of getting away potentially because of how they've designed shields, which this game doesn't really do that. I will say, me and Watts were talking about, I know when we were talking, we were like, I hate the Longhorn because I wish it played like the last word. And then it was funny because after we had stopped streaming, then I was playing with some other people. I picked up the gold Longhorn. I was like, wait a minute, because when he picked up the gun and it was like this, I was like, and I clicked the button and I was like, oh my god, it's the last word.
The gold weapons can have like different things about them. So one gold shotgun and another gold shotgun can actually be quite different.
They changed the fire modes. Like the sniper is busted as a gold. It's literally a full auto when you shoot it. I was like, whoa. I thought I was bugged. I was like, it's bugged? And I kept shooting. I was like, wait, no. This is, I guess it's just some gold. So that's really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. I kind of hope, or I kind of wish.
Wait. Stop. I lost.
What?
Wait, never mind. I lost Watt's camera for a second. Okay, no, we're good. Go ahead. Keep going. My bad. Go ahead. It's good. Okay. It's good. I lost her camera for a second. She's good.
Right. I guess my only complaint would be I kind of wish that some of those fire modes were more available a little, or like purple, maybe like a round earlier. But I do like the escalation of the power. Like the golds aren't just like a stat thing. It's like genuinely the weapon. I like that it mechanically changes the weapon. That is a good plus. I like that a lot. And I also like the idea of that, like every gun or most of the assault rifles have this sort of like long range mode and then switch it to short range, and you ain't got to run around looking for scopes. I like that, but I do think a lot of this, because of this, I think a lot of the assault rifles are very beaming. Like there's like outside of the AK, that M4 variant, I forgot what they call it in the game, but whatever it is, it is a very beam gun. It's just you could be long range, you can still just beam somebody with it, which I guess is fine for casual, but it's just a little noise. But other than that, I will say I think 5v5 saved this game. I genuinely believe if they had not dropped that patch update, this game would be in hell right now. And I think I agree with what you said, TBH. 5v5 was a very smart, not only just let them PR thing, but it's a very good conversation changer, because now you change the conversation. It's not just everyone dunking on you about, oh, this game is booty and da 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 da. Now it's, oh snap, they took what you said. Oh snap, the devs are listening. Oh, they just immediately applied. Like I saw people who were Arc Raider fans saying, oh, this is so refreshing, because I guess they're upset with their devs about how long it's taking them to make patches and stuff like that. And that's funny, because I think Arc Raiders is independent. I don't think Arc Raiders is published by anybody. Oh no, it's Nexon.
No, it's Nexon. They got money behind them.
I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah, that I do agree. That's the power of indie, is you don't have to go up 5 different leagues of leadership to get things pushed through. If the team decides let's push something, they could do it. What I do think is exception that is impressive is that they could do this on console, because I know that certification time is crazy. So however they got in their corner, that's allowing them to get these patches out and then get them to console fast, because you see this on PC a lot very quickly, but console usually takes a lot longer. So that's a good thing to see.
And as of us recording this video, just to let people know what updates have been happening, they added 5v5, they added another base. So this is, at the beginning of the game, when you're choosing which base you want to defend for your own base, you get a new base. And they've also done some performance stuff. Like they've added some settings that you can adjust. You can turn off like global illumination, things like that, to help with your performance. And they've also added the ability to like customize some of your controls. So it seems like these devs are working pretty much around the clock, and they can move pretty quickly. So it's good.
And that is a perfect segue to the next conversation in regards to Highguard. Because we're gonna move away from the actual game, which, by the way, before I even get into this, before the 5v5 came out, I was kind of like in that 6-7 range. I didn't know what to give it.
Wait,
but
hold on, TBH.
You losing me?
Our fifth podcast member has something to say.
Go ahead.
No, Aki.
Oh, you see him looking at me?
Yeah, he's I thought he wanted to input something.
Little ass kid, bro.
I love Highguard.
No, that's not what he's doing. That's what. Why don't you talk to me like that? That's what he's doing.
Can I play on the Xbox?
You don't think I have some? What's the name? Before I get into that, I was kind of like in that 6-7 range, and then oh my god, I just realized I didn't look.
Yeah.
When they dropped the 5v5, I'm like, okay, they're listening. I'm cool with like a 7, and I'd be willing to even bump it up to an 8 if they fix all the balancing and the other issues that they talking about. And like, I'm rooting for them. I hope they get it together.
I'm rooting for them. Yeah.
This game has a lot of negative press, and unfairly, in my opinion. And y'all know I'd be the first one. I'd be ready to slander something when, especially Ubisoft, when they be on some bullshit. But I'm telling y'all, this game has been getting some unfair press from a lot of people who didn't even give the game a shot. They just wanted to hate it because Jeff Keighley liked it, which I don't think he helped by putting the game at the end. I will give y'all that. He shouldn't have put this at the end of the Game Awards, because I think people were expecting like Half-Life 3. But this is the first time I think I've seen in my 35 years on Earth where people hate a game because another man liked it, to the extent where they were review bombed. And that's where we're taking the conversation. this is a free-to-play game. Try it for yourself, form your own opinion. Because reports have come out when you filter out the reviews on Steam, because right now it's sitting at mixed. At the beginning of the week when the game first came out, it was overwhelmingly negative. We're going to get to why it's... So this article came out when it was at overwhelmingly negative. The reason being is if you filter out the reviews, they found that people who played the game for 2 hours or more had positive reviews and they liked the game. What they found is the majority of the reviews, and I think it's like 40,000 reviews, they had like 10 minutes or less of the game. So like they didn't even get out of the tutorial. They basically booted out the game, barely did the tutorial, and then they left a negative review. But if you filter it for 2 hours or more, this game damn near scores an 80%. People actually like the game. And I thought that was very fascinating. Because when I was streaming, I saw this firsthand when I was playing it. And this is why oral history is important, because this is going to get lost in translation. I'm going to document it for the podcast. When I was streaming, within the first 10 minutes of this game being out, it had 3,000 negative reviews. Mind you, the tutorial takes 10 to 15 minutes depending on your skill level.
And you couldn't preload it.
And you couldn't preload it. Exactly.
Yep.
So I've never seen that, but I was like, how the hell does this have 3,000 negative? Y'all didn't play the fucking game. Like I said, they filtered out the reviews and they found the people who actually played it like the game. Now a week has passed, that 5v5 has dropped, and now it's not even overwhelmingly negative. It's shifting. It's now to mixed reviews. So we're almost at a point where it's breaking even, and it might even potentially go positive. So I wanted to shift the conversation towards gaming discourse and how negative it has become for like clicks and views. I found this tweet that I found was really interesting from Pro Noctis. Shout out to him on Twitter. He said, since the pandemic, content creators have come close to having journalist level influence. Recently, much of that is being squandered by the tendency to grift and hyperbolize for more views. This includes the weird desire to see something or someone fail, and it's understandable because the algorithm honors our vices over virtues, but it's unhelpful to gaming, civil discourse, and to randoms in general. It's fascinating to watch. If this continues, I anticipate we'll see publishers make a pretty strong return to more traditional marketing strategies in the coming seasons. What's your take on this, Jay, in terms of the gaming discourse surrounding this game and gaming discourse as a whole?
I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Like, I am never a fan of grifters. I'm never a fan of the people who just want to dunk on things. And it literally had no interest of even playing the game, of even consuming the content. I find that to be very disingenuous. It's just outright loser behavior. I don't understand why people do it outside of the obvious, which is because negativity ends up unfortunately driving that type of attention, which in turn gets those people money. And some people just like doing it for the love of the game. I don't get it, but some people genuinely just like doing it for the love of the game. They're not making any money off of it. They just do it just to do it. But yeah, it's super unhelpful. And I remember and it's still ongoing, but there has been an ongoing argument on like traditional journalism, like the Gene Park, shout out to Gene, the people who actually write, whose job it is to like play these things and do genuine reviews, like detailed reviews on these games, and the average YouTube commentator who, just because you have a computer and a microphone, then you get on the internet and you spew whatever that you feel like, and the argument on like what's more relevant in the overall gaming scope. Is it the traditional journalists? Is it the IGNs? Those people, because we dunk on them for saying stupid things too. And we also have the argument about, journalists not being able to play games. They're not good at playing games. Therefore, whatever they say is irrelevant, versus the average YouTuber is like, well, I know how to play the game, but do you know how to articulate yourself? And that ends up becoming the constant issue, because a lot of these people, unfortunately, do not know how to articulate themselves. And again, going back to the people who just want to say negative things, when I feel like that's not how they truly feel. They just want to say things because they know that if they say something negative and they are the quote unquote contrarian about everything, then they're going to attract that audience. And again, it's more of a psychological thing. When you get that hive mind that just constantly gravitate towards negative things, and then just everything that they consume ends up being negative, no matter whether they want to actually, genuinely like it or not. So yeah, I totally agree. It's not helpful in any shape or form. And I do think that the overall landscape does need to rethink, your audience, your target audience, and who you want to review your content and who you don't want to. I think that there needs to be more blacklisting going on here, because you can kind of tell like who's just coming in just with a negative base, and who cannot say anything generally positive about really any sort of content, just because that's just the type of content that they do. It's just negativity all around. So
yeah, I've been saying it for years, and I think some people are starting to waken up to seeing it, that you cannot trust the way y'all talk about these journalists is the same way y'all should be talking about these content creators. You should be sleeping one eye open, and it breaks my heart because some of y'all are getting manipulated and you can't even see it. I think I first noticed it. It's always been a thing, but I feel like it became like a mainstream thing when Anthem came out. When Anthem came out, and we said we like the flying and we like the prime and detonator series, but like the gameplay loop is undercooked. It wasn't optimized. Like I felt like we gave fair takes when it came to Anthem, and people are like, "Oh, you're a shill." Da, da, da. You're like, certain games for some reason, when the internet sees that it gets views for hating, the conversation of properly critiquing a game goes out the window, and it's just like it has to be black and white. You have to dogpile and say this shit is garbage. And I mean, it's the same thing with this game. We had some fun with it, but it also has some freaking issues. It's to the point where like people are just making up shit. I was going through them Steam reviews. I've seen several people say, "Oh, this game was designed by IDF Israel soldiers, so don't support this." I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about, bruh? I see one comment. I put it in the group chat. This dude said, "This shit is so trash. They were charging $40, and within a week they had to make it free to play." Guys, the game was never $40. That was Concord. They're just making up storylines about this stuff. And the unfortunate thing is because the average person isn't watching a podcast like this or reading the IGNs and the GameSpots of the world. They're just going to look at those Steam reviews and they're going to assume it's the worst thing ever. And in this game, it's not. That's why we're encouraging you to download it and try it yourself, because it's free to play. We're not talking about the people who tried the game. You tried it for a couple hours. You realize, it's not for me. You are totally valid in your opinion if you gave the game a fair shake and you're not fucking. But there are a lot of people that did not. And they did, and they liked it, but they don't want to talk about it. But that's not beside the point. And they still hating on the game. What's your take on this discourse, Was?
Yeah, it was. I could believe it, but people were coming into stream like 30 minutes after the game launched, and they're like, "Oh my god, is it really that bad? The Steam reviews are overwhelmingly negative." And I'm like, the game was not downloadable until 30 minutes ago. Most people do not have internet fast enough to be getting in a game, or at least not even a game, within this amount of time. Like, can we please just think a little bit? But not everyone knows what time the game launched. Maybe they thought it launched yesterday. You know, people aren't in the know of what's going on. And people are very quick to believe just something that is immediately in front of them and go, "Oh, well, that's the truth." And I saw this with like the whole Monster Hunter performance discourse that happened, where people were like, "Oh, the DLC is the performance issues of the entire game," because that was what some articles were saying. That was the headline. And it's like, no, that's just not true, like at all. And it's something that I see a lot now. I feel like there's at least one comment every stream where I'm like, this is completely incorrect, and I now have to try and correct it. People have no interest in looking further into something, reading an article, watching a video, like researching the source of wherever this thing came from. They just listen to their favorite content creator or something, and they run with that. And like you said, TBH, if anything, I would distrust content creators more than journalists at this point for video games. Because if you go on YouTube and you have a title that's like, "This game sucks," that's going to get way more attention than saying this, you know, having a measured approach in your title. And a lot of these gaming companies, normally they'll just have, you know, like Highguard review. They're not even going to really have anything controversial at the title. But it pays to be negative. It pays to be extreme. And that's what you're seeing from a lot of the content creators. So I would say, just like we said, if you want to try it out, it is free. Give it your own opinion. If you end up not liking it, of course, that's okay, as we keep saying. But just try and get your own opinions about things if you can. Obviously, it's not going to be that possible if you have to play a game that's $50, $60, $70. But if you can make your own opinions, definitely do that. And then if you hear something, just look into it a little bit more before you believe it, because there's another thing we're going to touch on later that I also had to correct about Highguard's misinformation. Yeah, it's been crazy. Please look into things. Please don't just believe your eyes, especially with all the AI stuff going on. Please don't believe what is immediately in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I think the reason I wanted to talk about this is I think it's just bad karma. Like, you got to put yourself in the I'd be the first one to slander a corporation, but you got to put yourselves in the shoes of like this indie studio. Like, let's say like you're a business owner, right? And you launch your bakery or whatever, and within day one, people are coming in and just leaving fake Yelp reviews. They never even came to, like, you would feel bad. And I'm just like, that's why I kind of feel bad for. I'm like, damn, motherfuckers are just lying on them. Kind of like what Watch was saying. I think you can't trust these YouTubers or streamers any more than game journalists. I think it's worse just because they make more money. Journalists usually get a salary and it's very small, and they're bad at games. We can laugh at them. Yeah, the Cuphead stuff. But these YouTubers and these Twitch streamers, they're making way more money from grifting. So you gotta be careful about who you watch. And I feel like some people are gonna leave some comments too to kind of speak on what you said, Watts, about the the clickbaity titles and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm in charge of doing the titles here on this channel. I do that because it works. It does work. I understand.
Because you click it.
Yeah, because you click it. But to be fair, in the defense of the podcast, what I do think is different from us compared to others is, yeah, our titles may be clickbaity, but if you actually listen to the conversations, I feel like they're very thoughtful and nuanced. I draw the line where it's clickbaity and you watch it and it's just bunking on shit, just making stuff up.
Yeah, I don't actually have a problem with clickbait if the content is then, factual, interesting, researched conversations and topics. Like, I don't have a problem with that. It's just the name of the game at this point. It's when it's clickbait and you open it and you're like, no, that's wrong. No, that's wrong too. This is all wrong. It's all just a lie. Like we saw some people saying when they're saying that Highguard shouldn't have paid $1 million+ to be at the Game Awards, and saying that very confidently.
Never happened. It was confirmed that Jeff approached them, and it was kind of like granted they had to agree to do it, but Jeff approached them with an offer they couldn't refuse on some mafia type shit. Getting in front of millions of people, can you blame them? But yeah, I only brought up the clickbaity thing because I could see somebody leaving a comment, and I'd be like, I just want everybody to know that's the reason why I do. But Ethos, what's your take on gaming discourse in its current state on social media?
It's terrible. I mean, it reminds me of the 2016, 2017 era when all those YouTube channels, those crappy YouTube channels, were making that like 20-minute Amy's dying, he was murdered, all that trash. I think we're kind of just looping into a scenario where oh man, I have my own gripes with a couple of creators about this, which I don't publicly like call them out on it. I would, but I just feel like it's not worth my energy of
it's not worth it,
dealing with that, the backlash of that. But there are very popular creators on this site that do go about, their channels are very, I'm not going to even say negative, but they're very critique heavy, which is fine. But at the same time, what I found with these creators at the same time is that they're very critique heavy, and they're very they move towards the negative aisle of making a lot of very, like, I'm not gonna say clickbait, but very like inflammatory type of videos in order to talk down about certain games or multiple games multiple times in a row. And then the moment they're granted an opportunity to get access to a certain game early, their tune changes. It changes and what I thought was, I'd hope is that, by actually seeing the people who work on these games and interacting with them in real life, that maybe it might, I don't know, mellow them out a little bit, or at least, but it kind of seems like it's not really the case for some of these people. Like, it kind of what you said, the grift or how much money they're making is too much. They'll say a nice couple thing for a video, or like, oh, here's my first impressions. I got a chance to play this early. Here's my first impressions. And they're very lighthearted about it. They're very nice. Or, in certain situations, they'll even do interviews and stuff like that, where they'll be like one way about that, but it's like, if you rewatch their content, it's like, this can't be the same person that I know who this content they're posting. And then at the same time, now they're acting a completely different way when they're interviewing a said person about a game that you'd imagine they'd just be dunking on their channel. So I do think that there's a lot of funny goalposts moving, that I think that a lot of gamers today are not holding content creators to the same standards that they held a lot of game journalists to for years ago. And don't get me wrong, there was fair criticism for a lot of game journalists back a decade ago. I think there was fair that you'd read. I remember there was articles that I remember a lot of us would criticize. Anything back then, I think even some of us even criticized about. We were just like, this is like who wrote this? Like this is terrible. Or like the whole Cuphead funny thing where everyone dunked about that.
7 out of 10, too much water.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like these people are like what they said. One is like they're not really incentivized of making as much money as a content creator, and I don't think they're upheld to the same ethical standards that a journalist is upheld to. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely, I think there's like real journalism, like what Gene does, and then there's journalism that I think is just like we're just here for clickbaiting and not really doing anything of substance. But I do agree with the idea that like we are now in an era where you have to do as much attention baiting and clickbaiting, but it's really about the soul and the content of what you're producing outside of just what you need to grab. Like do whatever it takes to grab someone's attention, but ensure that like what you're actually there to speak about is important. I'm just really tired of the channels that are just like they rag on a game and they post 4 or 5 videos straight about it. Like I've literally seen this from the get-go of like game gets announced, they post if people are shitting on the reception of the trailer, then it's a video about that, then it's another video about the same thing, and then sometimes you watch these videos and you're just like, this feels like it's just a repeat of the video I just watched like from a month ago from this person. And you could tell like it's just a pattern for them. It's just a way of them just like finding the next game. And to the point where you said, TBH, I think now it's a point where some content creators, it is an active need. It's no longer a like if it just happenstance happens. It's now we have to pick we have to pick something once we, like, for example, I feel like Concord was the victim. We bullied Concord. Concord had fair amounts of things that you could criticize it for, but I feel like the internet decided we're gonna shit on this game, and then once they're done, then it's like, okay, what's next? And they have to find something new. It's the same thing with Shadows, right? Shadows beforehand, we're gonna spend an entire campaign, an entire 6-7 months just shitting on this game constantly. And then when it comes out, either those same people who act like they never played, they actually pick up and they're playing the game, and then they're gonna be like, oh well, I just have to play the game. It's my due diligence to play the game. Even though they're doing it in bad faith. And then it's just like find the next target. And just like what we're doing with Highguard, they're going to keep riding the wind for Highguard for probably for February. And then after February, there'll be something. I'm putting money on this. It's Marathon. Marathon will be the next game that people are going to target. I guarantee it. It will be Marathon, because people put Marathon and put Highguard and basically try to Concord them and try to say, but then when Marathon starts with new stuff, the conversation started to shift, and now those same people who were shitting on Marathon a couple months ago, now they're like, oh well, it can be good now, because now they want to stay neutral. It's not oh, I'm going to give kudos. It's now just a neutral stance, so that
they don't have their own opinion, right? They're riding the wave of the popular opinion.
Exactly. There's no stance to what they have.
I've seen it within Marathon with a content creator who I have in mind, who is like, Marathon, Concord 2. Went to Bungie, played Marathon, said it was pretty fun. And then when the alpha happened, they're like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't good. I actually said that it should have been different. Yeah. Yep. And then all this stuff started coming out, and now they start, pooping on Marathon again. And then they're like, oh, actually, I'm starting to think it's like,
I told y'all I was right about Marathon. Marathon was good all along. And then it comes out, and then people end up not liking it or hate brigading it.
No, I told you it was bad.
I told you it was bad. Like, I agree with lots. I've seen this from multiple content creators. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes of just watching channel where I'd be like, wait, what? And I get it. We're all allowed to change our opinions. I think we said this on the podcast before. With the person that tried to criticize TV, you were like, just what the hell is this person talking about? I think it is fair for people to have an opinion at a time, and then new information comes out, and you are allowed to update your opinion about it. What I don't think you're allowed to do is to act like you didn't originally have those thoughts about it, and not to take accountability for making those bad opinions about it, and then being like, I made a bad call about this. I thought this thing was going to be this way, and then there should be reflection. That's part of the accountability. There should be self-reflection on, how did I end up going so far on an opinion about this that I was writing and dying for it, and I was so wrong about it. And then maybe next time I see another game, maybe I should kind of wait a little bit, or maybe I should just be more straightforward and be like, it could be this way or it could be that way. But to be honest, I need more information to find this out, instead of just hardcore picking whatever, which was what I agree with Watts. 90%, I feel like, in my opinion, 90% of Highguard videos out right now that are shitting on Highguard are not really about the contents of it, or not really about the conversation of the game itself. It's just, look at this player number, ha ha ha. Look at how Grid died. This is Jeff Keighley's fault. Why did they pay, either misinformation about the 100 mil, or why did Jeff Keighley decide that this game is going to be good? Jeff Keighley has no good taste. I guarantee you that's like 90% of the videos. I have seen videos that are long form that are actually going to the depth about the mechanics and why they don't like this sort of mechanic, or they weren't a fan of this or that. That's totally fair. I think that's good kind that we should be having. But there's so much of it where we're not hearing that. Instead, we're talking about, and this is a big thing. This is one of my biggest takeaways from all this. We need to petition Steam to hide player counts now. I think it's just used as a weaponized tool. It's just a weaponized item now that people just use to push agenda. But what is the purpose of it? To help the consumer. I felt like back in the day, it was like a way to know, like, before I bought a game, is there an active player base paying this? But it's not even that anymore. It's just used as number lower than 10,000, game is dead. Like, if game does not have over 100,000 people in it, game is dead. And they just push it. They just take a screenshot, easy money, post it on Twitter, make a YouTube video about it, and they'll spend 10 minutes on a video talking about a damn player count. I want you to think about that. They'll spend 10 minutes on a video talking about a screenshot of a player count. Like, I genuinely believe it's actually been a curse. It's actually not been as, I think originally it had good intentions, and it's been ruined by people who just want to push agendas about games being dead. And I'm so sick of this game dead, game is dying type of videos and conversation. I think we should just hide it, and developers are the only ones who should get access to it to be able to know what their player accounts are, even though they should already have those tools.
I'd go as far as to say, like, I don't know what the solution is, but I think Steam needs to figure out a way to where they can verify people actually played the game, because like I said, that most people didn't make it out of the tutorial who like left a review.
Trophies, achievements.
But here's the problem, because in the defense of the people who did try the game, I saw some people say when the game first came out, because we were all trying to download it at once, we were able to get into a game. Some people weren't. So their opinions are valid. The servers were fucking up day one. It's cool now. So it's like, how are we able to keep those opinions in versus the people who are clearly just there to grift, and I don't know the solution there.
AI, baby.
I don't know. Steam needs to think about a way to update that Steam review, because it's a little too easy to review bomb games right now. Versus like, at least with like Amazon that has like verified purchase or some shit like that. I don't know.
Steam reviews is the perfect example of gamers not taking their own accountability. Of like, you'll criticize Metacritic and you'll criticize all these other things about scoring and stuff like that, but then you'll go to literally Steam reviews and you'll use that as your denominator to know this is the truth, because this is people who
my god,
the game.
That was crazy.
But Steam reviews are terrible. Like if you actually,
they're really bad.
Don't get me wrong, you'll find some good ones, and sometimes you'll see like I feel like games that are not review bomb, that aren't like people try to brigade or try to push an agenda for, when you go to their comment sections, you'll see genuinely good reviews. Like, you won't just see that, but a lot of times you'll see people who make a one sentence meme and thumbsing it up or down thumbsing it, and people will thumbs it up as helpful or a funny joke or a clown meme or something like that. So there has to be a balance. There has to be, like, I think there needs to be curation. I think Steam used to have this. Steam used to have those curators. Remember that? Where GI used to have it? And I remember Total Biscuit used to have it, where you could give your review in this segment. People could follow it. And then when you reviewed something, they would go there and they could see every game that you recommend or did not recommend and why. And I remember Total Biscuit, rest his soul. I remember he used to do that for like FP. Like, it was very simple, but his was just straight up, how was the game's performance? Was it 60 FPS locked, 30 FPS locked? Could you modify the game? Like, so you could get some like core informational, very good stuff to just know if the game was good for PC, if it was a good PC port or not. I think that's what we need now. We need some sort of curator or some sort of like how Open Critic is, verified critic. Oh my god, I can't say the word. Critique of just like, these people are more verified or more nuanced in their opinions or something like that, or more upheld by the community. And so we're gonna put these guys as like, when they review or something like that, it's like I don't know,
like the old school check mark on Twitter, like somebody who's valid, who's known for being reputable.
Yeah.
I think that's
a reputation mark. Yeah, instead of just person made funny joke.
A social credit system.
So, yeah,
something like that. I mean, you go even further. I think we said this already. Off of here. There needs to be a minimum time that you need to play in order to review anything. I think that would be that would be pretty simple.
2 hours.
Not 2 hours though.
2 hours.
I mean,
is the refund. 2 hours
that is the
for
point.
review?
That is the point. A little before. I would actually go even further than that. I think that there needs to be like maybe a checklist on the video game itself, because I don't like the people just saying it's trash because of something that doesn't even have to do with the game. I'm not saying write a whole article on your review, but I think that there needs to be a minimum period before you can actually do a review. And I also think that unless the game is actually broken, because I found the only times that I actually go and look at a Steam review section is when a game is legit broken, because I want to see what people are saying. And a lot of times when people downvote a game or not recommend a game, it's because the game is legit broken. So I want to see like if I'm having the same issue as other people in the game. But I wouldn't call that a review. I wouldn't not recommend something unless like it was just utter trash, like the game legit was broken to the point where nobody can play the game. So I think in those cases, if you're trying to warn people about like issues like that, it shouldn't be called a review. There should be a separate section, like a note or a warning to let people know, hey, this game is broken, like fundamentally broken.
Being verified?
Yeah, I mean,
Verified reviews.
Actually verifying. So I think that would be the solution to this. Steam needs to do an overhaul. But Ethos, you were 100% spitting. I think that because Steam is really the only thing. We only look at two things now as a society of video game. We look at, if a game is on PC, we look at the Steam player count and we look at Twitch's player count. Those are the only two that we can visibly see to determine whether a game is quote unquote dead or if it's surviving. And I think that out with Twitch, you got to do that, because that's not for the game itself. That's for the people playing the game. But I agree. I think that we do need to remove the Steam player count. I don't think that it's helping anything in this discourse. And people are literally weaponizing the Steam player count to determine whether a game is dead or not. And we have this weird symbiotic thing going on with a lot of those same grifters that we mentioned, where they just tag along with the game and they just beat it until it's dead. You know, they want it to die, they just beat it, and then they're ready to move on. If they don't have anything that they can crap on, then they'll just sit there and
they'll make it. They'll try
to as best as they can. But if they don't have legit anything that they can just pull out the pitchforks on, then their content is super stale. They don't really have anything to go off of. But yeah, they definitely do a good job of just talking about everything surrounding the video game other than the actual video game itself, which is why we go back to they don't play any games. They don't play any games, and the game that they do play, they don't like any games. Like they don't like anything, and that's just their personality at this point. And like I said, that stuff is incredible, and they've literally created an entire community of people that they have quote unquote brainwashed to think the same way that they do, and then those people don't like any games, and they're just all in this echo chamber, and they're just regurgitating the same negative mess, which again is not helping anybody.
I think, and we saw this the other direction with Stellar Blade, where the grifters weren't going hard on like wanting it to fail, but they were grifting so hard on her being like a sexy character and all of this that no one actually knew that the game was good, because all they would post is her booty jiggling on a ladder or something like that. So when people legitimately did not know it was a good game, and when they saw me playing it or posting gameplay, they were like, oh, this is actually really cool. Like, this looks really good. I'm like, yeah, the game is really good. They can't even the games that they're grifting for, they're making them look bad and making people not interested in the game because they're not actually talking about the game. They're talking about everything else surrounding it.
Yeah, I think that the solution is like maybe like a happy medium. The Steam DB data I think should still be available, but you should have to register on the website as like a game dev to get access. Like only game devs should be able to get that data. Because like for consumers, I don't really see a reason for them to even see that. Like it's unnecessary. When I was streaming the game, like it was a lot of people in the comments. This is another thing too about the gaming Discord. One thing that really weirds me out is when I was streaming the game, it was a lot of people in the chat that was mad that I liked the game. Like, I don't love it, I don't hate it. I recognize the game has issues, but like there's things I like. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. And I had some fun with it. I'm not gonna lie. Why is that making you mad, bro? Like that shit is fucking weird to me. So here's how I switched their perspective. I randomly had this thought, and it was, I said, to be fair, I said, if I was a game reviewer and I had played, an example is being Resident Evil 9, right? That's probably the next big hype game coming out. If Resident Evil 9 came out this month and I streamed that game for 5 to 10 minutes and I uninstalled it and called it trash, I said a lot of you would unfollow. And they were like, that's facts. I said, but wait, why is it okay for you to do that on Highguard's reviews? And the whole chat said, oh. I said, do y'all get it? I was like, do y'all get it? I was like, why? What's going on? So I was like, it's the same exact thing. I was like, if you played it for a few hours and you ain't like it, I'm not even knocking that. You gave it a fair shot. But it's a lot of people out here. Y'all got to recognize that, like, this is one of the few times where I legit feel bad for the game developers, especially because this is a small indie studio. And in my opinion, where's this energy for these big publishers, man? Every year I tell y'all, stop buying that VC. Y'all buy that shit. Rumors are circulating that GTA 6 is going to be $100. Half of y'all can't wait to pay for that shit.
I'll pay $200.
GTA 6 is going to ruin the fucking industry if it turns out it's $100. I'll say it, because it's going to rise the price of everything else. And people are like, I'm ready for that. Y'all should be sleeping with one eye open. Like, it's just weird to me that there's this energy for this free-to-play game, but not everything else.
Especially as you said, because they're indie. These guys developed and published the game themselves. This is all their own money. Like, they're not EA. I've seen some people thinking this is an EA game. Oh, I know. This is a complete indie team. They're very small, especially for a multiplayer game. So, you know, why are we rooting so hard against them? They're just like, you know, they give you a free little battle pass war chest thing like Helldivers has, and you know, they gave us a pretty nice update. I'm rooting for them.
So the conversation currently was talking about people who didn't like the game and people who were grifting. Let's shift the conversation towards some people who did like it. Well, a video came out that went viral from Tim the Tatman, world-renowned, one of the most popular people on the Twitch platform. And in this clip, he admits that he likes Highguard, but he doesn't want to play it because his chat keeps bitching that they don't like it. Now, here's the exact quote. He said, I probably would play this game again, but everyone is just like bitching. It's so annoying. And the funny part is he did play it again. A clip of him came out of playing another content creator. Shout out to Drum Bum in a 5v5 match. I guess they ran into him. So I guess he's playing it off stream, like trying to hide the fact that he likes the game. And that's when Siggy put in the group chat the Russell Westbrook meme of like him like on the side. He's trying to hide the fact that he likes it. But like, what's your thoughts on this, Jay? Somebody who likes the game but doesn't want to admit it.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, people like this are a pure just we know that their chat literally runs what they do, and it's crazy because Tim the Tatman, I mean, I'm sure he's super successful at this point. Like, I don't think that there's any reason for you to go against what you truly want to do just because your chat doesn't want to see you play the game. And clearly a lot of those people are either people that want to see Tim play just one type of game or a couple of games. They're just like, oh man, I don't want to see you play nothing else. But that's also combined with the people who we were just mentioning before, who just want to hate it just because that's the cool, quote unquote cool thing to do. If you're successful like this, like, okay, man, you can have a day, a week, like, why don't you just come up with a schedule at that point? If you truly want to play the game, be like, hey, all right, chat, I don't give a fuck what y'all are saying. I'm going to play this game on Wednesday. And if you don't want to be in here, like, cool, that's fine. The other days I'll play what y'all want to see me play. Like, I feel like it should be as simple as that. Like, it's not going to hurt your pockets. It's not going to hurt your credibility to play something that you actually like. And this is why we go back to, like, do y'all actually like playing video games? Or at this point, are you just playing a rat race? Like, I don't understand someone in the top echelon that you're at, why you may feel like, I'm not saying this is the case in this case, but why you may feel like you still need to do, the quote unquote meta that everybody else is doing. Like, just do your own thing. You're not not a small creator, you shouldn't still feel like you need to play what everybody else is playing or play the most popular thing in order for you to get that audience, to get that popularity. Play whatever the hell that you want. I've been saying it since the beginning. If you genuinely like the game, then play it. It shouldn't really be anything against that. And again, you're bringing a negative connotation, bringing a negative influence to this video game. Like, I understand you're not intentionally trying to do that, but when you say things like this, oh man, Chad's just bitch and they don't want me to play the game, and I generally like the game, so I'm not gonna play the game because y'all don't want me to play the game. You're also bringing negativity to the game itself, and not just your audience and your sector. It's bringing a negative audience to the game, which is already getting crapped on, and it got crapped on before the game even came out. So I just don't like this. Like, bro, you're at that point. You're the top echelon, bro. Play whatever the hell you want, or at the very least, just say, hey, I'm going to play this game on a day. Just pick a day. I'm going to play it with my friends. If y'all don't want to be in here, if y'all don't want to see me playing it, then skedaddle, come back another day, and it should be as simple as that.
Fuck that. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. As a fellow full-time content creator, I don't feel bad for him because he's like a 35-plus-year-old man getting bullied by 40. And the reality is that I go as far as to say, Jay, he doesn't even need to pick a day. These, like him, he streams like 12 hours a day, right? What's wrong with saying, you know what, guys, for the next 2 hours, I'm going to play Highguard. And then after that, we'll switch to something else. If you don't enjoy Highguard, come back then. But I got to get it in because I'm enjoying the game. My thing is, your job is you are a full-time influencer. And I get it. It's a business. So that's why I suggested that's the happy medium. But you also have to remember your job isn't just to make money. You are an influencer. And I'm going to keep it real. These people don't stand on nothing. These people don't be talking about no real life shit that's going on in these streets. And on top of that, you won't even admit you like a video game? Why are you in this? Like, what do you stand on as a man? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What are you influencing? To me, it just seems like you're just trying to maximize for that dollar. I get it, you know, get your coin, but you're already rich, man. It's like, at what point do you, because I think whether he realizes it or not, inadvertently, he is promoting hive mind behavior. And that's why I wish he would have actually been like, I like it. Fuck y'all. I'm going to play this shit. Like, stand on what you like, bruh. But unfortunately, you're promoting hive mind behavior, which perpetuates that cycle of negativity towards the indie studio. What's your thoughts, not JJ, but Ethos?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's basically sheep mentality. You're just encouraging that. If I say I like a game, I like a game. Y'all not gonna ever convince me otherwise. There's a bunch of games. I like Alpha Protocol. A lot of people think that game is trash. I love that game to death. So, and there's nothing that anyone could do to try to bully me or convince me into not liking it. I said the same thing about Cyberpunk. I think Cyberpunk is a great example of that. Like, I played when Cyberpunk first came out. I was in them trenches, boy. When I'm talking about
that
everybody
shit was ass when it first came out. Hold up.
No, I stand on it. No. See, no, I stand on it 24/7. I said from the very beginning. I said, what did I say? I said in a couple years this will be a cult classic and everyone will change their tune.
You're right. No, you're right.
This is a diamond in the rough. I see the diamond. I never said it was.
I still fell through the map.
I always disagreed. I know. I disagreed with the idea that people said the game was ass, that there was no redeeming factors to Cyberpunk, and that
the game wasn't ass. The optimization 100%. I had
optimization was
yeah. You're right.
People like what you said before. I think people are more than happy to criticize the game and be like, yeah, the game had a lot of optimization issues, and that is fair. That's fair criticism thrown at CD Projekt and stuff like that, and they shouldn't have launched it. All this stuff. Totally can agree with that. I would never argue against that. But I did see a lot of people who originally were like, this game has no redeeming values. It's not even a good game. And there was a lot of people that tried to push that as it had nothing redeemable about it. It wasn't a good game. It wasn't a good RPG. It didn't have a good story. It didn't have good gameplay. Like, same thing happened to Highguard. It was just like a torrent of people where I'm like, well, I played the game. The game's goddamn 50 hours to beat. How the hell are y'all getting these opinions about the game? And it's 50 hours to beat. I beat the game nonstop, playing it nonstop for like a week straight during Christmas week in order for me to get this opinion. And I was like, I saw so much stuff by playing that game that I was like, yeah, there's definitely some issues in there. Luckily, I dodged a lot of it playing on PC. But I said, I saw a diamond in the rough. I was like, it just needs a little bit of polishing, but there's something really special. There's like, I still feel the soul of this game. It's in there. It's just surrounded by a lot of dirt that it needs to be cleaned off. But I see a diamond here. And it took them a couple years and updates. But then, now as you can see, completely 180. Now people are saying it's one of the greatest games of all time. Now they love it, blah, 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 blah. But it's what I'm saying, where it's just like, there are games that I feel like whatever your Cyberpunk is, I just put it that way. Whatever your personal Cyberpunk is, that, you know, people will come after you for it, or people will just think that you will insult you for a video game opinion about that. Stand on that shit. If you like the game, stand on it. If you have conviction in what you believe in, because if you don't have conviction in what you believe in, then you'll fall for everything. You'll just believe in whatever you want to believe. And that's what's happening right now. A lot of y'all don't got conviction no more. Y'all don't stand on nothing. Y'all don't believe in nothing. Y'all don't got faith in nothing anymore. Y'all depressed. Y'all need a therapist. That's really what it comes down to. Y'all need a therapist. And y'all are just you use video games as an isolation tool to escape from reality. And I think that unfortunately that's frying y'all. It's frying y'all a lot. It's fine to use this thing as a getaway, but I think you guys are not using it as I think you're using escapism in its worst case scenario, where you're trying to run away from stuff that I think you need to personally take care of. And yeah, I agree with you, TBS. Same thing that you said. I'd be damned if I let some 15-year-olds on Twitter or Twitch try to tell me what to fucking play. I'll be damned. I'll ban them right there. Yeah, that's crazy.
I think if you played it, like I said, and you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine. But like the way the internet's been talking about Highguard, if you haven't played it, the internet is talking about it like it's Mind's Eye. And I'm here to let y'all know it's not even anywhere. I'm gonna be honest. If you give Highguard less than a 5 out of 10, I'm not taking you seriously. Like it bare minimum, it's a functional game. If you think it's a generic hero shooter, that's fine. But the people that I've seen 2 out of 10 worst game ever, like they're talking like it's mine. That's a flat out lie. Try the game out for yourself. Inform yourself. It's on another note, the last Highguard story that I got before we move into the news section. And a more, I don't even know if I want to say lighthearted, but the internet's biggest pedophile, well, he's not the the gaming space's biggest pedophile, Dr. Disrespect the Children. He's back in the news, unfortunately, because for some reason he lied and said that he was at the Highguard event. He actually photoshopped or used the AI of the Highguard press pass. Instead that he was there, he got to preview the game and he was pretending like he was promoting it. But then one of the developers came out and said that he was not at the event. And I was, for transparency, I was at the preview event, and I can confirm this motherfucker was not. He's like 6'8". I've seen this dude in real life. He was not at. Jay, why do you think he lied about that? I saw you tweet about this.
Because he's a loser and he thinks that it's funny. And once again, like just like his former friend, he stands on literally nothing. And I think that this was an attempt to get people to talk about him, attempt to get some relevance, and attempt to rage bait. I've seen multiple people because I said, yes, this is some loser mentality, and like he responded, but he was like, "Oh, got him, we got him." Like these guys are fucking dumb, and I'm like, again, bro, what's the point? I could sense like him laughing. Like I was looking at him, I'm like, you got some pain there, brother. You have some genuine pain there and some sadness. Like you truly need to get some help because like you lost all your friends. You're streaming on Rumble now. Like something's going on with your life, and like you're 40-year-old man still cosplaying as this dude, bro. Like you need to seriously get some help because it wasn't funny, and once again you are putting a negative light to the game. And you don't even realize it. Like just because your studio and what you were dealing with, and you know they all disassociated with you, and now that studio ended up going kaput, does not mean that you have to dunk on another company which literally did nothing to you in order to just get some laughs and oh man, this is so funny. Like I've literally seen people in this audience in the same comments like, yeah man, we got him, man, Highguard is shit. And I'm like, what, really? Like this is, if this is truly what you wanted to do, congratulations, man. Like you played yourself. You're a fucking loser. Like it's so stupid out here. You still have influence, whether you've been quote unquote banned from the gaming industry or not, but like it's just really in bad faith, and we need to get people like this completely off of the internet. The one thing I will say, because I want to call out, more losers. I want to call more people losers in 2026. I think that's the thing that's important to me. But I will agree with what someone said, man. You giving them more attention when you do this, and I'm like, yeah. But at the same time, I'm trying to really spread like awareness on how the loser behavior that people have been displaying and haven't been called out on it. So I will defer to that point that me commenting, other people commenting on it, did give it attention, and we should a lot of times ignore those things. So I do agree with that, but at the same time, I just want to call people losers at any point in my life.
I don't agree with
so
not
stupid.
talking about it because like the people, I had people coming into my chat saying, yeah, the game looks okay, but like they worked with Dr. Disrespect, so I can never support them. And I'm like, They did it, and I've just been like boxing against misinformation about every single game that I play. It feels like, and I'm like, that did not happen. That was AI. This has nothing to do with these developers working with him. They have to come out and say they didn't work with him, and so it's like he can influence that people's opinions on the game. But the worst thing was that people legitimately thought that they were working with Dr. Disrespect. And that put such a negative light on the studio. It's like, not only does your game suck and you paid $1 million for Jeff to be at the Game Awards, but you're working with a pedophile. So I'm just like, it's another reason why I feel so bad for them, because a lot of this stuff has nothing to do with them. They put out like a pretty solid foundation of a video game, and everything else surrounding it has nothing to do with them. So definitely please keep calling people out, letting people know what the truth is, because these devs had nothing to do with this, and it's now just making people think they work with a pedophile.
Yeah, so, I go as far as to say, I don't know if there's a case there, but if they can, y'all should sue this motherfucker, bro. Because like I said, he made it look like the dev team was supporting pedophilia, and like I'm with you, Ethos. If I would have found, well, I knew for a fact because I was at the event, he was not there. I can confirm what the devs are saying, but if I would have known that he was at that event, I would have told y'all on the low. I'd be like, we ain't playing that shit, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't have played either.
Yeah, so it was really bad press from them that they can't control, and I'm kind of in the middle between Watts and JG. Like, I think some things should be ignored, but then there's other things I think you should check it. Like, shame can be a powerful tool when used correctly because it can be abused. But in this case, he needs to be shamed. Because to give you perspective, if we didn't publicly shame him for cheating on his wife, do you think he would have broke down and cried on stream?
Nope.
Nah.
Exactly. He would have just kept cheating, basically. So, like, nah. So some people need to get checked. Any thoughts, Ethos?
Did I give thoughts on this?
I don't remember. That's why I asked. I know Jay and Watts did. I don't know.
Nah, you didn't.
Oh, I mean, I don't like pedophiles. So I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why this dude's a loser. That's all it is. He's a fucking loser. I agree with what Watts is saying too. I think we need to call this type of shit out. Especially with how, because I'm not gonna lie. I saw the post about that, and I was like, "There's no fucking way." So I was waiting for you, TBH, to say something, but I know you DM'd and was like, I did not see this motherfucker unless he went to some different, like, as you said, there was different sessions. Like maybe
there was two sessions. There was one for press and one for creators. He's not press. He would have been there as a creator. So I would have saw him.
So I was like, there's no fucking way. But I waited. I didn't just immediately go like, oh, fuck Weatherlight, fuck this game. I was like, let me wait and see what the company's gonna say about this, because I was like, there's like, this is like, who's stupid enough to do this? Like, where's the PR? Did no one on your PR think this would be a smart idea to not invite? I was like, whichever company is the first to be stupid enough to invite him to an event. I hope this is just a litmus test for them to understand that that is a death sentence. That is a straight up death sentence. You invite him to any sort of PR event for any of your games, I don't care how big he is, I guarantee you there's a big swath of the internet that it will not fuck with your shit at all. And down that, now that's something I'm willing to brigade on. I will totally talk shit about your game. There's another game that's catering to that dumbassery area of the internet. But like the games like that, I think that you can, especially if it's that supporting that type of evil, we shouldn't be giving that type of energy to that type of person at the same time. I agree with the idea of not giving fire more oxygen, but at the same time, this is the type of thing where like this is reputation damaging and it's misinformation, and I think those type of things are not things that you can just ignore. Like you have to correct them on the record. I get other things where it's like if bro's being a clown because, like, let's say he was Twitch streaming and said, oh, he's Twitch streaming Highguard and he says he likes it, I'm not giving that no energy. I'm not even going to tweet or nothing like that. But if it's something where like he's actively, what he's doing is, here's this conversation that's happening, he's trying to self-insert himself into that space and into that conversation so that he can gain relevance, right? That is something that, like, we should be smacking down and being like, get the fuck out of here. He's a loser, right? And I think anybody that still associates with him is a loser too. And I'll say it publicly in your face to you, any day of the week. If you rock with him, if you're one of the champion club, I'm sorry, you support pedophiles. You just like
champion club you probably, champions pedophiles.
Yeah, you a champion to that island with Epstein, my boy. So I got no sympathy for you, none at all. And it would be a different story if maybe there was some accountability there, maybe there was some atonement there, but there's none. This dude's a dickhead. He no atonement.
Yeah.
So no, I ain't got nothing for that.
And thank you for that buzzword, Ethos, because that's the perfect segue into the. Unfortunately, this is some weird ass shit that came out. So 3 million more files in the Epstein files have been released to the public, and people are combing through it. And you're wondering, well, what does this have to do with gaming? Actually, everything. In some of the emails, they found that Mr. Epstein was friends with Bobby Kotick, which is the former Activision CEO who just recently stepped down in the past year. In the emails, they found two things. A, he was banned from Xbox Live, and also Epstein is, I don't want to say fully responsible, but he influenced microtransactions. He told Bobby, man, you need to put this new thing called microtransactions in the game because you're going to make a ton of money. What are your thoughts on this, Watts? Mr. Epstein and the micro.
I'm not surprised that Bobby Kotick knows Epstein. I'm not surprised at all. At this point, it seems like if you have a lot of money, you know him. And you know him intimately. Yeah, I mean, Epstein's doing the most evil thing. Microtransactions is not a good thing that happened to our industry. So I'm not surprised at all.
I think this is it's bad news, but I think it's good news just because I do feel like personally in the United States, I feel like Americans are underreacting to a lot of the things that are going on. And me personally, I'm a proponent of whatever gets somebody interested in what's going on in the news cycle. I'm for it. And I hate that it was this, but I did see a lot of people on the timeline that I'd never seen talk about this type of stuff saying, wait, Epstein ruined gaming too? You should be mad about the pedo shit, but they said now they're looking into the rest of the story. So I'm like, if it pushes people in the right direction, whatever. What are your thoughts, Ethos?
I agree. I'm not gonna lie. I was shocked too when I saw the whole. I read the email. I had to double read it. I read it like 2 times. I was like, wait, what? And I read it again. And I even saw there was an email.
It's called CP.
Yeah. And then he mentioned. There was also another one where he mentioned Battlefield 4. And so I'm literally I'm watching my childhood get destroyed in real time, and me just reading all this stuff and being like, bruh, this, when they said that this dude was high reaching and was touching so many different areas of finance and influence, they were not joking. I didn't even consider in my head, which is crazy. When they were saying this, I was thinking big CEOs, oil and the arts and stuff like that. I didn't even fathom the idea of video games. I always thought it was it's just a kid thing. I didn't think, it'd be I wouldn't even think Epstein would even care about. He doesn't seem like someone in my head I'd be cares about video games. These dudes be diddling kids. But that's what I'm thinking in my head. And then
that's where he finds the kids, maybe.
That's where he's finding. He on Roblox.
Want to play some Switch together?
Yes.
Play some Animal Crossing?
Got some consoles. I was like, oh my! I can't believe my brain had never considered.
I didn't think about it either.
I didn't think of it at all. So it's kind of a culture shock for me. I'm still trying to process this. Because I saw emails that he was talking also about Battlefield 4 at the time, about some about the profitability of that. They're talking about profitability of how microtransactions would be good, which like I said, it's not really a direct he caused it, but I think he kind of inceptioned the idea, or was inceptioning the ideas in higher influenced people, which and then man, I get to push GTA slander. I get to push about GTA slander. We're gonna get to it.
One second. I was gonna say I forgot to put it in the notes, so y'all gonna have to take my word for it. But there's also an email that came out that Epstein got banned off of Xbox Live, and when I saw this story, not only was it the microtransactions, but he got banned off. This blew my mind. Banned in 2013 off of Xbox Live. This took me back to the NWN days because, y'all know, I blew up off of talking shit in Call of Duty lobbies. And I said a lot of things back then that I've apologized for. I would never say today because I've grown up and I never got banned off Xbox Live. So for him to get banned off, it blew my mind when I was like, yo, this is a nasty
probably motherfucker, shit talking every one of your videos. You might want to check. You might want to check your whole video.
This is a nasty motherfucker.
Anyone listening, can you guys check TBH's old videos where he's on Xbox Live and see if
wait a minute, is that
Epstein's gamer tag is there?
I'm telling you, whatever content creator can find an old video of theirs and can through some sort of tracking, if they can verify that the person talking on their side is Epstein, you probably have the most powerful viral video. You're going super viral if you find it.
Now when people are like, I want the good old days of Xbox Live.
You witnessed a Call of Duty.
I'm gonna look at him a little sideways now.
You're right. You witnessed a Call of Duty for a different reason. What's your thoughts, Jay?
Man, it was so many memes going out. They were like, "Yo, Epstein was definitely in the Call of Duty lobbies." It was funny, but it was also like scary. I agree with Ethos. Like, I wasn't expecting like Epstein to. He really was out here like talking to everybody in like every sector of pretty much everybody. Like, it's super wild. Like, I was definitely not expecting Epstein to like be in some Xbox, type of situation. So yeah, it blew my mind as well. But at the same time, again, I'm not surprised, especially with Bobby Kotick. Like, we already know he a dick. So that does surprise me that he maybe talking to him on some other stuff. But yeah, the microtransactions, him getting banned off of Xbox Live, like that stuff is just wild to me. So yeah, we're in some definite weird times here.
Weird,
and to make it even weirder, man.
Weird.
To touch on what Ethos was talking about. Another gaming CEO, not just Bobby Kotick was found in them Epstein files, but the Rockstar CEO, Leslie Benzies, was found in the Epstein files, and he's being accused of SA as well.
Is this the Mind's Eye guy?
Yes, this is the Mind's guy. This is the guy that separated from Rockstar and went to do
the man with the massive ego. And
I'm not gonna lie, from the profile picture, he looks like the type that would.
Is this karma for him? He was like, maybe he knew his mind's eye at the freaking bomb. He's like, man, I'm in the files, man.
Oh my lord!
Y'all think this would have any effect on GTA 6?
No, because he's not working on GTA 6. But the other CEO, right? Was it the
it's
older?
Just you gotta keep in mind, people don't read articles. They're just gonna read the headline. The X.
I don't think anyone who cares about GTA would care if the whole team was made of pedophiles and like child murderers.
Man, I just want that fucking video game. Just give me that video. Yeah, that's all they care.
If you found out, if there was an email that said that the reason why GTA is profitable is they sacrifice a child at the eve of the launch of every GTA, I guarantee you would not change their minds. They would still play it. I guarantee.
It's a bold claim.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it too.
Yes, I think we're that far gone.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna hold you. If
we were defending a pedophile in the White House, TBH, you think that's far-fetched? They wouldn't be okay with I don't know. I know ball and gun gamers love games with ball and guns. And like the $100 price tag, I know they won't fold on that, but I'm not gonna go as far as to say if the entire Rockstar team came out as pedos. I don't know. Because I'm speaking from my. If I found out the entire old BioWare team was some pedos, I'd have to throw my copy of Mass Effect. That shit, and it worked. I'd never be able to.
You have principles. You have principles, though.
That'd be wild. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready to say.
There's a lot of people that don't have any principles at all.
That's true. So yeah, that's your weird ass Epstein update. On a more lighthearted note, when it comes to Xbox, so the sales of Xbox hardware was down 32% over the last year, and then also a report came out that the developers seem to not want to make games for Xbox. During GDC, game developers were surveyed, and the majority said they weren't really interested in producing games for Xbox. Primarily, they wanted to make games for PlayStation and PC. You know who I'm about to ask, right? Ethan, you're a game dev. What do you think? Why do you think there's such a negative sentiment now in developing games for the Xbox?
It's because they gotta develop for the Series S. I guarantee that's probably why. There's the sales numbers of just the active user bases. There's way less people on Xbox this generation than there are on PlayStation. So you want to go where all the people are, so you have the highest chance to get as many conversions as possible for people who are going to buy your game. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, I feel that. I think it's for like every 4 PS5 sold, 1 Xbox is sold. I think maybe more people would want to develop for Xbox if it was 2 to 4. But that 1 to 4, yeah, that is a hard ratio to like justify. And then you got the
you're performing for 2 sub platforms on top of just the platform itself. So now you're not only just developing for Xbox, you're also trying to make another version of your game for the Series S that can run on it, and it has to be close to the same one for the Series X.
And then I think about it too. You could also just get your game on the Game Pass, and it's also going to be on PC. So like, what is the point of kind of play? What do you think, Watts?
Yeah, it's I think that's definitely a part of it. I swear I've heard some developers say that they have to make it for that and they just can't without like really degrading, the PS5 version, or just being like way too much work. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. I wonder if there's also something with Game Pass, maybe. I don't know. Like I've heard positives and negatives about Game Pass from devs, so I'm not sure about that. But I think also just I feel like not as many people worldwide have Xboxes. So like it's largely a US consumer based. So as you're releasing for an international audience, if you're going to pick one thing to focus on, it would be PlayStation. So yeah, it's unfortunate, like talking about Neo, Neo 3 is not coming out on Xbox. They generally don't. Every time I see a new game announced, it's like PlayStation and PC, PlayStation and PC. So I think at this point, yeah, if you're looking to get into the console market, get a PlayStation, because there's so many games that are not even going to touch your console at this point, unfortunately.
I think Xbox at this point, Microsoft stepped on their own dope. With this particular generation, they have a very huge emphasis on play anywhere. So I think eventually they're going to get to a point where if this game, this exclusive, is going to eventually end up on the PS5, PS6 anyway, and it's already on PC because it's play anywhere, what is the point of owning an Xbox now in the generation? I think that if they continue down this path, they are going to become purely a software consumer. It's just going to be Game Pass, cloud, and it's just going to make games from the studios that they have. Hopefully no more shut down, but they're going to just make games, and then they're going to have this exclusivity period, and then it's going to eventually end up on the Sony console if you just want to stick to that. It's really sad nowadays that, again, we've had this ongoing joke forever with Nintendo, but it's a sad day when Nintendo has a higher percentage of people that want to make that developers want to make games for than you, Xbox. So we are definitely seeing a shift in what people want to do, because I mean it's funny because we heard it off air from over search. Someone was like, "Man, it's Switch. I don't know about making something for that." So there are still those people that are like, their hardware is just not up to par. But now, and then Ethel brought up a great point. I think Xbox truly messed up. I get the point of making two different consoles, the S and the X, but I think just purely from that performance standpoint, they really messed up with the Xbox Series S, because we've heard so many negative things, whether true or not, about developing for that S. It's literally you have to develop for another console, and it's the inferior console, and people just don't want to create stuff for that, the lowest common denominator at this point. So I think it's a multitude of other things, but I think the highest emphasis for me personally would most likely be just because you can pretty much really play anywhere with your software, and the exclusivity thing is pretty much going to be out the window in the next 5 to 10 years, but mostly on the Xbox side because of the strategy that they chose.
And to be fair to Xbox, I think it's important not to lose the context. It is unfortunate that developers don't like making games for the Xbox Series S, but we also have to keep in mind Xbox did make that for the consumer, like just to give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. I feel like their intention was in the right place. They wanted to make something cheaper for people to pick up who maybe couldn't get their premium product. But I think the happy medium going forward in the PS6 and whatever the next Xbox generation is called, instead of making a weaker version hardware wise, man, if you're trying to cut corners, just cut that hard drive. Like, let's say, I don't know, PS6 and the next Xbox are going to launch with a 1 or a 2 terabyte hard drive. I hope at least 2. We need to be done with that. Like, we need to be launching with it. If next gen they launch it with 2 terabyte hard drives, if Xbox and PlayStation want to release weaker versions, keep the CPU and the GPU and the RAM the same, but just cut the hard drive. Like, put like a 250 gigabyte in that bitch or something like that, and tell them upgrade that shit later if you want to try to find. I don't know how much that would help, but like, we got to stop skimping on the hardware because console parity, it's holding games back. I can't stand PS4 players. The Xbox Series S is kind of a PS4,
but it's PS4.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny though that you mentioned that, TBA, because that's what they were doing in the past. Yeah. it was just for Xbox. It was just this generation that they decided to make a weaker version. And again, yeah, I agree. I understand totally why they did it. It's supposed to be the consumer friendly one, the cheaper one, but they ended up, shooting themselves in the foot with that, because I don't think that they truly took into account like the difficulty that it would put on the developers to also, make whatever game that they're going to come out with compatible with that weaker version. So they can revert back if they're going to come out with another major console release for this next generation. Then yeah, I think they need to just revert back to just making it simple. Make whatever the lower version is with a lower hard drive, and then get the premium version with the bigger hard drive, and then just make it that.
Make the premium version with a disk drive and a bigger hard drive, and then the bigger version with a smaller hard drive and no drive. There you go.
Like Sony. Like Sony did. Yeah.
Save some money there. Hopefully Xbox figures it out. Because at the end of the day, I do not want Xbox to fail. If Xbox fails, PlayStation is gonna just fuck us all. We want competition. Whether you like Xbox or not, we want it. Trust me. Because also Nintendo will fuck you too. So we don't want the.
They've been fucking us.
Yeah, they have. Next story. This one's, speaking of fucking, this one's probably gonna fuck up the industry. Google AI's Project Genie has been revealed in the past week. Project Genie is an interactive world creation tool that lets you generate playable environments from a prompt. So basically, think of ChatGPT, but you type in, build me a fantasy universe with a character with a big shield, yellow hair, a minish cap, and a big sword. And that is exactly what people have been doing. But what makes this one different is not only does it generate the world and the character, you can actually control it. So you can make it run, swim, fly, ride around and stuff. Basically, you can create a super elementary video game at only 24 frames at this point right now, simply from a prompt with Project Genie. And of course, people who got early hands-on time with this, they were trying to push it to the limits, and they found that there was no copyright protection to this. Somebody recreated Breath of the Wild within it, as well as like some other stuff. Nintendo started striking this stuff down. And as much as I don't like this stuff, I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty impressive. This scares me because this is the worst that we've ever seen it, and I'm looking at this like, damn, people might really dodge, because I'm showing the footage on screen. I don't know about y'all, but if I was from a distance looking at a monitor, I would have not known this was AI. This looks like Breath of the Wild, especially because don't know textures loading that game on the Switch version like real life. So I mean, I couldn't really see no difference. What's your take on this, Watts? Project Genie. Fix your face, Ethos. You know I'm right.
It's kind of hard, because what I'm seeing is that it can create like a shitty version of something that already exists. And like, yeah, that kind of looks like Dark Souls. Okay. But when it tries to do something original, well, I haven't seen it, first of all, been able to create something that looks good, that's original. But even the other things, like, you turn around, like someone will jump off a cliff, the character will jump off a cliff, and then you turn around and there's no cliffs anymore. So I know that this is maybe, we keep saying this is the worst that AI is going to be, but I'm not jumping the gun and saying it's crazy just yet.
She said she's not impressed.
Just because like it's made Dark Souls 3 and it's made Breath of the Wild. If it made something that looked unique that I hadn't seen before, and they were walking around the world, and then maybe that would be a different story, right? Because I'd be like, oh, like you said, TBH, from the corner of my eye, if I'm not really paying attention and it was something that was unique, maybe I would think that it was a new game or something. But as of right now, it seems to be copying things fairly well, but it is literally just like a one-to-one copy of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from the standpoint of like 5 to 10 years from now, not necessarily. Yeah. Like, it's more so like I see the potential, which, by the way, before I toss this to somebody else, I was doom scrolling on Twitter, and breaking news literally 1 hour ago, Twitter just announced Rock Image 1.0, which is basically what this is
more naked
timing.
Babies. Great.
Yeah, 10-second videos, 720p resolution. So basically they just launched their own little video maker, just like Project Genie. I cannot make this up. This is happening while we're recording. So if y'all go on y'all timeline and look, you might find it. This shit is coming, and I'm just curious to see how the market is going to adapt to it. But you're a game dev, Ethos. What does this mean for game development? Project Genie.
Not a damn thing. This is worthless.
Mm.
What is it? What am I supposed to use this for?
Got my own.
There's no point to using this. There's
Infringing on copyright.
Yeah, I'm gonna copy something that already exists. In the world. I get it. I agree with Watts. If it was like something completely unique that I was trying to like, I don't know, materialize out of the air, then maybe there's barely any value. Maybe there's value in that. I don't. Again, I don't like the idea of letting this stuff interface with like the creative aspect of development. And I think that that's all this is. And this isn't even that. This is just the only way I can see this maybe working is if you had your own game that was okay. Two bad things, not even bad things. One good thing, one potential good thing, one really bad idea. Good idea. If I'm internally using this tool internally with the dev team exclusively, and let's say we haven't finished building out the game, but I'm trying to get people on board, and I have already had like my artists and everyone else, and we have developed like let's say some initial what are they called? Concept shots. Yeah, like prototype. Yeah. But we're not at the prototype stage yet, but we're kind of just trying to get the grand vision to the dev team. I can see how I guarantee you a dev studio would probably use this tool to be like, this is what it could be like. And using like our art, we have this thing generate somebody moving around in this 3D world of like a concept artist had drawn up. That's my guess. That's like best case scenario. Worst case scenario, developers use this as a new form, not developers, publishers use this tool because they think people are dumb, which they are. Publishers use this as the brand new bullshot trailer, which is, remember how back in the day, there would be trailers like the Killzone 2 trailer, which wasn't anything near what the actual game was, but it was, but people thought, oh, the game's gonna look like this. Oh, that's gonna be amazing. This will be a new, more efficient way for publishers to reveal games before they're damn sure ready to go and act like they have actual gameplay by utilizing this tool. That's the worst case scenario. And they're going to scam you guys because like you said, if it gets better and it's harder for you to make out, I guarantee you it's going to make it harder and harder for people to understand that.
What are your thoughts, Jay?
Yeah, looking at the official Project Genie trailer, I wasn't impressed. I was like, yeah, it's just a walking simulator. Like it's okay to, just be able to prompt whatever you want, but I was not impressed in that. The Link one though, I was like, damn, like again from the, just the eye test, I was like, that's pretty impressive there. So I get your standpoint, TBH, if you're thinking like 5-10 years down the line, but I mean, I don't think that it's going to tank the video game industry. But because I'm on Ethos's point, I don't think this is going to really do anything. You still need that human element to actually get like the full scope of what a video game can be from start to finish. So I don't think this is going to intrude on anybody, but this is definitely a start. I can understand how it's scary though, just seeing what it can do, because I feel like just the people that got their hands on it as soon as it got announced, they already went over the limits of what the official Project Genie team showed. So I was like, damn, that part is kind of scary. But what they showed, that wasn't scary at all, the official team.
I just want to point out that a lot of people who are doing this crap have no idea about game development. And a lot of them are just AI scammers and AI evangelists who don't even know shit about gaming. And they're just using this as a tool to try to like act like the gaming industry is going to be in trouble because we're going to have robots doing this. And I can't stress enough that if that happens, I guarantee you I'll be 100 years old and we'll probably be dead in the dirt by that point, or not, or close to that, if like games are just completely made by, just whoever. But a lot of this is just like, I just want to point this out, which is very important. A lot of the people that are doing this sort of stuff, and this kind of goes to Watts' point, they have no creativity. Mm-hmm. Think about every single time you think about people who are pushing like the AI on Twitter and people who are talking about AI, they're not actually think about it. Every time a video comes out, it's never about an original idea. It's always, I've taken this already existing artistic vision or artistic video, movie, game, and all I did was copy it and sped up how much time and made it look, I don't know, more Canny Valley or just more generic looking. That's all they've done. I've yet to see one person actually using AI, generative AI, to actually create something that I'm like, my eyes, I've never seen that before. I've never thought of that concept before. It's always been, this looks similar to blah 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 blah, or Breath of the Wild. Oh, it looks like Breath of the Wild. I saw the craziest thing I saw, which I saw Rockstar was on it quick. Somebody had taken the leaked GTA 6 footage and put it in the machine to walk around what would be potentially GTA 6, which is immediately like, oh yeah, you got to get them. But yeah, this is an overblow. And this kind of shows also investors don't know shit about the gaming industry, because for them to just hit the stock marks that hard and be like, sell like that, just kind of proves to me that they have no, there's no good gaming analysts within that, like within the investment space to like warn them and be like, because I would have just been told buy, not sell, immediately buy these stocks the moment 100%. They shot down. Yeah, that's free money right there, because they're just going to bounce back immediately once people realize that this is not achievable. Now, is it possible one day we're going to wake up, maybe 5 years in the future, or wake up, sometime in the next 3 years, and all of a sudden there'll be this big push where AI gains sentience and our lives are changed forever, and this thing just
I've heard they made their own social media network, so it might become an ethos.
I didn't see that.
Unfortunate.
Continue, sorry.
JG, you want to talk about that? I think you had a couple things about that. Yeah,
bro,
about that.
I don't know.
I couldn't even wrap my head around that. So yeah, go ahead.
I mean, people were saying on this. I forgot what the name is of it, but it was literally like just.
It's called Molebook.
Yeah, Molebook. They were just talking. It was AI that was just coming together, and the screenshot that they were showing were the AI talking about how bad humans were and how they were going to eventually get rid of us. And I'm like, bro,
great.
I'm like, what? Like,
apparently they started their own religion too.
Yeah, they made their own religion.
Cool.
I'm like, this is what the fuck is going on? Like, who made this, and why did you make this?
Who does
we
this?
really are speed running all the bad stuff with none of the cool stuff.
Have we not watched the Age of Ultron, Avengers 2?
Turn it off. Don't plug them into the internet. Turn them
off. There were some people saying that there were humans that were making the AI prompts to put on there, but I don't know. I can't verify that. But
maybe we shouldn't do that either.
Yeah, from what we saw, it's just scary. Because even if a human did that, I'm like, why, bro? Like, nobody wants to see AI talking about how they're going to eliminate us. Like, can we seriously stop with this? It isn't funny. It is not funny.
It's unfortunate. We're gonna have to keep our eye on that. But Ethos is right. The stocks dropped on multiple companies. Not financial advice, but one of them was Take-Two Interactive, the owner of Rockstars. Putting that out there. Do what you want with that information.
Is it still down right now? By a little more.
Let's see. It is. Well, yeah, because it's the weekend, so like the stock market's not open on the weekend, so it's still down 8%. Yeah, it won't change until Monday. I think it had dropped like as low as like 15%, something like that. The day this broke, it's covered. But yeah, do what y'all want with that information. This is not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. On a more lighthearted note, not Age of Ultron news. Sony has finally done what I've been hoping and dreaming, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you haven't heard this news, it's probably because you're not broke. But if you own a PS4, do not be shocked when you log in next time to that PS4 to play Fortnite Season 2 in Tomato Town, because you didn't get the latest update. Do not be surprised if you get a message that states, whether you're catching up with hits from 2025 like Expedition 33, Arc Raiders, and Go Siete, or getting ready for the most anticipated games of 2026, including Saros, 007 First Light, Neo 3, and so much more, now's the perfect time to upgrade to the PS5 console. Scan the QR code to see the latest deals on the PS5 console. So, you're not following. Sony, y'all thought listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to declare I won the war. Maybe I wasn't being mean. I was just a couple years too early. Console parity is the devil. For the people who bitch and moan that they don't see a difference between the 4 and the 5, it's your fault, because this is like the first generation that I've ever seen. I feel like it used to be like a universal unwritten rule. When a new console comes out, you got about a 2 to 3 year window where everything is cool. After that, we don't give a fuck what you got to say. No, we don't care about no backwards compatibility. Upgrade. But this is the first generation because I think it ushered in a new wave of COVID gamers that don't understand how gaming and computers work. They just were stuck in the house. They heard Fortnite is fun. They heard Warzone is fun, but they don't know how a computer works. Guys, you are the reason why these visuals are not being upgraded, and it's not what I feel. We've known this back in 2014 with Watch Dogs. Matter of fact, the Battlefield 6 developers admitted it. They said the only reason it can run this well with all these explosions and optimization is because we're not making it for the. So now it was me. I waged the war, upgrade your shit. The game developers are begging you. They would love to make better games. Upgrade your shit. And now the hardware manufacturers themselves are begging you, please upgrade the shit. At what point do we get to like, you know what? Maybe I'm the fucking problem. Now it's on your screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've won the war. You're a game dev, Ethos.
Hit the button. Hit the draft button.
Oh, shit. I hit it. Now I go here until you get on the thing. I've won the war. I wasn't being mean. I wasn't being facetious and rude. I was just a couple years early. I don't know what happened, but hopefully y'all can finally see the light with this. What does this mean for your game that you're developing, Ethos, now that they got to jump to the...
Nothing, because I never planned on it touching the PS4. I never touched the PS4 as long as I live. Wait, hold on. No, let me not say that. Let me not say that.
We want to get some retro gaming.
Yeah. You never know.
Because it is a
like,
retro device.
It is a retro device. I have a couple of them in my house.
Any takes, Jay?
Yeah, no, this is funny. Shout out to Neo 3. Neo 3 got mentioned there. So I know watching
Yeah,
that.
shout out.
But I mean, is
that on PS4?
No.
No, it's not coming on there.
It's on the 5. Yeah.
007.com and Saros.com and Neo3.com. They already mentioned it. They said, look.
They said, stop saying we don't got no games to play. We got plenty games to play over here.
Like, you're literally going to get blocked out if you're just a Sony gamer and you still just only have a PS4. Like, you're literally missing out on games now at this point. We're 6 years in. So please, like, if you have a PS4 and you're calling yourself truly a gamer and you want to play some new stuff, like, please just move on and get yourself a PS5. They literally said they have deals for you. I wouldn't even be surprised that, like, they had a special deal. Like, if you've never owned a PS5 and you're just sitting there, like, just waiting on it to go down, like, just have a special deal for them to essentially, you're like, I feel like that message is like, because this is the IT and me, you're getting onboarded to a PS5 like 6 years later. You're literally getting onboarded to that. So please do yourself a favor and catch up to everybody else and get yourself a PS5, and please keep the PS4 back in the past. We're done here at this point.
If it was up to PS4 players, we would have never discovered the will. Man would have never found fire. We would have never discovered the light bulb. We would have never invented the car. Like, when I start saying it like that, people start to understand, like, yo, society is supposed to move forward, okay? What you mean we need a car for? We got these horses right here. Okay, this got 200 horses in it. This one horse is cool. Fuck that. We moving forward. Watts, any thoughts?
Do people legitimately not understand? Because I'm concerned if they don't. Because, like, of course, as things get more advanced, as technology gets more advanced, etc., games are going to look better. They're going to perform better. They're going to have different things going on in it. We saw that, like, when the PS5 came out and Ratchet and Clank took advantage of that technology and you could switch between stuff super quickly. And that was really cool. That is because of new technology. So you are holding your own hobby.
Oh my God, they don't have SSDs. This is crazy.
They don't.
You don't have an SSD, bro. Every console.
No,
I want to point out too, they have 500 gigabyte hard drives.
Oh my God.
That's what
imagine what you.
How do you not understand? Your hobby, your thing that you like to do, it will be better when they drop the PS4. When everyone drops the PS4. Night Rain, my Night Rain would have been better. If it wasn't.
I get it too. To be fair, like, the first couple years, one thing that was different was COVID and scalpers were fucking up the prices. So I give you that. But 100%. The last 3 years or whatever, they've been readily available. I don't want to hear nothing about this account. You had time to get a fucking job. You just didn't want to do it.
Everywhere. You just get a Switch too. That's stronger.
Exactly. Yeah, you can walk. Yeah, walk to your local Best Buy, GameStop,
and it's cheaper.
But yeah, just go get one, bro. They're there.
You can't see the difference because you ain't trying to see the difference. That's the point. And we're to the point where they're so behind on these consoles. We've been talking about the PlayStation 6. They've been talking about potentially pushing it back because of the RAM, potentially 28, 29. Now we have another rumor that came out, and Sony has filed a patent for a new controller type. Now, understand, when you file a patent, it doesn't mean they're going to act on this technology, but they are copywriting it just in case they want to, so nobody else can copy it unless they cut that license. So Sony recently patented a new controller that will have no buttons on it. It'll basically be a big ass touchscreen, and you'll be able to program the buttons anywhere on the screen. I thought this was interesting. Watts, what's your take on this?
I don't really want it. I don't really really want it. I even like I used to have those controllers where the D-pad is like a circle disc. I didn't even like that because I felt like I didn't know what I was clicking or where I was pushing and stuff. So I like tactile, functional buttons. I think it feels good. I know what's going on. So I'm personally not interested. I was like, okay. And that was my reaction to seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm
Any takes on this ethos as a game dev? Like, how would you use this to?
I'm not gonna use this shit. No, no, I'm not gonna use this shit. Look, I don't like the idea of like gaming on a phone. Like, I feel like I hate the way the inputs. Like, imagine like on a touch screen.
Same.
So like, I don't like the idea of like there's no buttons and you touch the. No, I just don't like any of this at all. Matter of fact, can we just go back to the old school? Can I get like see-through peripherals? Like, is that too much to ask?
Transparent. That was fire.
Yeah,
transparent
stuff back.
yes.
Why can't we bring that back? Well, what's been stopping us from doing that? I'd pay a little extra $20 for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
like I don't know why we're not getting that stuff. Like, why did we stop doing this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, my issue with this patent is kind of like what you were saying. Like the biggest, so like cell phone games for people who haven't played them, they've come a long way. The visuals are comparable to console; they're very good. But the issue has still always been the controls. Like I'm still waiting for a phone manufacturer to create something with a built-in controller that can give that full console experience. But it's still, well, I don't. But so then you need an Xbox or a PlayStation controller to connect.
Yeah, that's
to
what
it.
I just do.
I'm talking about like a sidekick where it's got to be slim too. A
Bring
slim
back the
sidekick where you remember the old Sony phone? Yeah, and it's got two analog sticks in it. If the company that makes that is gonna sell buku phones, bro, because then it's gonna prove that cell phone games have come a long way. The controls are just the problem. So it blows my mind.
I kick back too. I miss that.
It blows my mind that they're patenting a controller with no buttons on it. And they're trying to say the way that it'll work is they'll use like tactile feedback, but that still doesn't feel, the vibration doesn't feel as good as pressing an actual button. So I don't like this idea. I hope this is just them.
Real quick question here for everybody. Do you guys like the haptic feedback thing on PlayStation's thing, or do you find it sometimes annoying?
Come on, the triggers.
Like
the
sometimes
triggers I don't like.
I don't like.
I don't like the whole like.
I actually like the other stuff. I don't like the triggers because I feel like it gives your fingers fatigue when you're playing for a long time.
Oh, what? Thank you. I thought it was crazy. Oh my god.
No, 100%.
I'd hug you right now. Oh my god. Oh, I said this before. People said I was crazy. I was like, I hate.
No, you're not crazy.
Thank you. Okay.
But like when I played, for example, I'm thinking when I played Returnal for the first time, and that was one of the first games that really used that well, and you could feel like the raindrops on the controller. That was kind of sick. So I like it when it's used like that to make weather elements more immersive and that kind of thing. But not the triggers, man. No.
What about y'all two? Y'all feel that?
It doesn't bother me.
Okay. Sorry, my hands are weak. I apologize.
Yeah, I don't find it to be an issue. Really.
Play more ranged weapons, and you'll realize
I think
real quick it's not a good time.
I mean, I don't like the triggers either. I agree with that part, but it's just a haptic feedback. I don't
like
mind
the
it.
haptics.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like it.
I think the most interesting thing about this story is Sony said that Sony's arguing that current controllers are not comfortable or functional for all players due to a standard layout, which makes gaming difficult. The buttonless controller will allow players to use all types of inputs without any fixed button restriction. I gotta call cap on that. Like, what do you mean you're trying to?
Well, I'll take it back. Then, because if we're talking about accessibility, I mean,
accessibility is a different conversation.
Yeah,
that's a different.
If they're making an accessibility controller, I think that's a different thing.
Yeah, is that what this is for? Like,
okay, so if they it doesn't state, if they position it as strictly a accessibility controller, then I understand. But that's not what they're arguing. They're saying for most players, they don't like this. And I gotta call cap on that.
Yeah,
because I'm like, what are you talking? You talking about the same company that hasn't innovated their controller since the PlayStation 1? It's been the same controller since they introduced the DualShock. The most unique PlayStation controller was the original PlayStation controller that didn't have analog sticks. Then they saw what the N64 did, they copied it, and they've been making the same controllers since.
With just like a few tweaks.
That 5 ain't even as good as the 4 controller.
I did like the 4 better than 5.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Maybe that's why they won't give up the PS4. Maybe that's just didn't feel
outside of the PS1. I think the PS3 was the least favorite of mine. I didn't like the PS3 controller.
Speaking of controllers, I just want to state, this is not a sponsorship, but I just want to state I bought this controller from recommendation of the Twitter chat, and I will say it is probably one of the best controllers I've ever had. It's like designed like the Switch's Pro controller, but it's like it has like Xbox's like thumbsticks, and it doesn't have any drift. I've had this for like 2-3 months now, and I've had zero drift.
What brand is that?
It's the fuck. Hold on.
Is it a game,
It's on
sir?
our next topic. It was $30. It was $30.
Is it a game,
bro.
sir?
Damn.
No, it's called somebody. My chat recommended it, and it's like a Wukong.
$30 is really cheap. For a
$30. I
controller.
was blown away.
They got
yeah.
Hall effects on the analog.
8-bit duo.
8-bit.
8-bit duo.
I use
Ultimate
their
2 wireless
adapter
controller.
for using my DualSense Edge
It's
on
$30.
Switch.
Yeah.
Their
It's
products
fine.
are really good.
It's got Hall effect joysticks, Hall triggers. It's got Bluetooth. It's wireless, and then it's really cool. I've actually used it. So like on the see these, it actually has extra triggers like in between the R1 and
What
R2.
platforms
I
is-
see.
What platforms?
So you can.
That work with the Xbox?
I mean, I just use it on PC. I don't know. I've never tried plugging this into an Xbox. So I don't know. I'm assuming it'd work on an Xbox. I don't know. If it's
It
gonna work on
looks like
PlayStation.
it could run on an Xbox. If so,
Yeah.
we could use it to turn off the Xbox.
Yeah, but like if you like,
This
I will
guy.
say, I will say, because we're just talking controllers, I really feel like the original Switch's Pro controller was slept on. It was probably one of the most surprising controllers I ever tried. Where I was
The Pro
like,
one?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like,
good.
wow.
I
this
play
feels
Smash on
really
that a
good.
lot. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And then this one, yeah, it's like same design, like specs. Like it's very similar to it. It feels great. Yeah. Highly recommend it.
Interesting.
There you go. That's a recommend. I'll hit them up for a sponsorship next time. But yeah,
This-
Yeah.
this guy.
Check.
But
okay,
but going
go
back to the PS6 really quick, this its potential. I'm not going to put too much stock on this because Sony puts in a lot of patents as we talked about before, and then they don't execute a lot of things. So this probably won't even come to fruition. But let's speak it from the case that this rumor might become true, and they decide to continue with the patent. I think that again, from accessibility standpoint, I understand why they would want to make a controller like this, because I'm looking at like the specs here, and like they have the D-pad being at the top left, and then some of the buttons being on the top right, and then they have another figure with the D-pad on the bottom left, and then some of the buttons on the bottom right. So I can see that, like, if you literally can move around virtually some of those options, then that could potentially be cool. And I have heard issues with people who have like big hands or small hands that some of the controllers that they try to play with aren't comfortable for them. So for those particular people, I can see how making a controller like this would benefit them, but I don't think that I would be ready personally for a buttonless controller and not getting that tactile feedback. It would just seem weird. If they made it, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't try it, but just from first glance, it doesn't seem like something that I would personally enjoy.
That's fighting.
Yeah, that would be super tough.
So I mean, just take it with a grain of salt, though. It's just a patent. Doesn't mean they'll actually make it. And then also, like we said, it could just be an accessibility thing. I'm just praying it's not like the main PS6 controller. That's what I would be worried about.
Oh Lord, don't do it.
Yeah, I'm passing that. You might make it bug. And then last but not least, this past weekend there was a big Dragon Ball event. I'm not even gonna bother trying to pronounce it because I'm terrible at pronouncing things. I can't speak. But during it, they announced a bunch of stuff. They announced a remaster of the first arc in Dragon Ball. They're calling it Dragon Ball Beerus, like better art. They also announced that they are working on a new season of Super, the Moro arc. So a lot of people were super excited about that. They announced some Dragon Ball Sparking DLC, but nobody cares. More Gokus, and I'm not joking. They added Bardock. Oh my god. But the main thing that I saw people excited about from the gaming side is they announced a new game called Dragon Ball Project Age 1000. So it doesn't have an official name yet. It's just a working title with original characters. And according to this article, the official name will be announced at a later date, but it has been in development for about 6 or 7 years. And this is the last big game that Akira Toriyama worked on before he passed away in 2024. And I mean, if you take a look at the trailer, it looks like it's leaning more towards like an RPG story mode. It takes place in the Dragon Ball universe, I guess. It looks like he's a Saiyan because he goes Super Saiyan, but I can't really tell where this is going. Any thoughts? Any Dragon Ball fans in there?
Man, I wish I was still a Dragon Ball fan, but
Not
I am hoping because I saw the trailer, and yeah, it doesn't look like one of the traditional games that they have been coming out with. If they change it up finally and make this into more of an action RPG, a single player experience, I think that might potentially be dope. So I don't know anything about this character. Obviously, it's a new character, but I'm going to wait because they said they're going to wait until April 8th, I think, to actually reveal what this might be. So I will be reserving my judgment until then. I'm just hoping it's not another Sparking Zero or anything else that we've unfortunately been used to with the same old story going through the same old arcs. But I mean, if it is an action RPG, I might actually play it.
Yeah, because to be fair to them, they did do an action RPG, Dragon Ball Kakarot. But my problem with that game is it was just a rehash of all the stories we've already known.
That shit don't count.
Yeah, I feel like, yo, Bandai Namco, you anime gamer fans are in the same bracket as bowling gun gamers to me. You just play anime games. You've been getting fleeced by Bandai Namco. They've been making. There's Dragon Ball Sparking or Kakarot is the same thing as Sparking Zero. They added. You're replaying through the same stories, and I hope that they don't do that. They give us an action adventure game with an original storyline that has some type of implementation, like make it canon too, like the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order series. Make it canon with some implications on the storyline. There, you got me interested. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts, Ethos?
Cool.
Watch.
Yeah, I was happy to see that we're seeing more stuff from Akira's designs, which is really, really nice because he's gone now, so we're not going to see anything new coming from him. So being able to get more content to enjoy his creative things that he's made, I think is good. I'm not a huge Dragon Ball fan, but I hope that this ends up being a good game for everyone who is, because yeah, his designs are really great. I'm good to see them again.
Well, that's the news that I got for everybody. So we're gonna move on to the lightning round. All right, so make it quick. Watch. The Neo 3 demo came out. We're gonna go in depth more next week because the full game came out. Any impressions on the Neo 3 demo?
Neo 3 demo is awesome. You can easily get like anywhere between depending on how long you take doing stuff. You could be in there for 4 hours, you could be in there for 15 hours. It depends what you want to do. Either way, it's a good solid chunk of the game. Your progress carries over. Full character creator is available. So if you are interested in the game, take these free demos that companies are giving you. Take them. Because this is a good solid chunk that you can see if you actually enjoy the game. And it's not going to be one of those situations where you're like, oh, but I don't want to have to start over again when the game comes out. If I end up liking it, you don't have to worry about that. So we'll talk about it in detail next week when the game is officially out. But it is looking really good. It seems like it's just Neo 2, but there's more and it's better. So, yeah.
I'm enjoying it so far. And I think the thing that impressed me the most about the demo is the first two full areas, and like she said, your save file carries over, and also the demo has co-op in it. So if you want to run with a buddy, you get a good chunk of game that lets you run with a buddy. So I say download it, try it if you haven't already. Any thoughts, Jay?
I like it. I did struggle on one part just because I had to really master the key system. But once I got used to it, then it, I ended up, it was kind of just like riding a bike for me. But it's cool. The only thing though in Neo, I mean, I'm kind of used to it with some of the other games that Koei Tecmo has come out with, but I'm still not the biggest fan of the items system. I'm just not a fan of like seeing the same item that just have different attributes, but that's neither here nor there. I think that's a very small part of one of my gripes. I'm just not a fan of those type of games that just has like the same type of loot. But I see that there is a pretty good variety of like weapons that you could choose from. At first I thought I was going to get stuck with just playing with one weapon, but quickly I started seeing a whole bunch of different weapons. So I'm like, I can go back and forth as much as I want to between the different weapons if I just don't like shooting another weapon and trying it out. So it's cool. I looking for that, but yeah, so far so good, man. Loving the demo for what I played.
Ethos?
Instructions unclear. We'll try again this week.
Okay, he didn't play it. All right, well, what's your take on this? The Last of Us Season 3 most likely
don't care. Next topic. We don't want to talk about it. Next topic.
Can I get the story across?
No. We're done talking about that series. Next topic.
No Season 4 of The Last of Us TV show.
Don't care. Next topic.
All right. Well, there's a rumor floating around that GTA 6 will not have a physical edition at launch. It'll come at a later date. No discs for people who want to own it. Any thoughts, Watts?
They got nothing at launch. They got no online. They've got no PC version. They've got no physicals.
That's real.
I mean, no. And the games, they've been making the game for like 100 years. Come on, man. We could do something, surely.
I was disappointed when I saw this one because to me
it is disappointing.
It sounds like a ploy just to double dip. Oh, we're gonna launch digital only.
Another double dip.
And then a couple months
dip.
later, if you want the disc for game preservation, you could buy that. And then when the PC version comes out, we're gonna try.
We have a new disc for an online version.
In the article, the rumor states the reason they're not gonna do physical is because they don't want it to leak online. And I'm like, well, if somebody owns the digital file,
it's gonna leak online.
Yeah. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
The fuck out of here. This shit is a money play. Don't fall for this. Beyond Good and Evil 2. We talked about it last week. So there was a restructure at Ubisoft. They laid off a bunch of people and they canceled a bunch of games. But one game that survived despite Ubisoft spending $500 million 20 years later, and the game is still not out. The rumor was that Beyond Good and Evil was not canceled. We have a confirmation from the director that it was not canceled. Any takes, JG?
No, I mean, can we see the game finally? Like, y'all been working on it forever. Like, it seems like y'all just want to see it through to fruition. So that's just, I just want to see something. I think everybody wants to see something.
Yeah, I was hoping this wasn't true, but this story just confirmed that Ubisoft is true. They like to burn. Rumor PS Portal OLED version is coming later this year. So the streaming device for the PS5, better screen. Is this doing anything for anybody?
Steam Deck.
I have a Steam Deck as well, so
I also have a Steam Deck.
I'm the only one without one. The other ones I don't know about, but this rumor I tend to believe. Like, why wouldn't they do this? Like, to make something, especially because last year it was the best-selling gaming accessory. Surprisingly, a lot of people shitted on the PS Portal, but it was the best-selling accessory. Interesting.
Real.
So I believe this rumor is real that they're coming out with an OLED. Costco news. The RAM situation has become so bad that they are now having to hide the PCs. If you ever been to Costco, they're on display in the open. They are now tucking the PCs away because apparently people are cracking them bitches open, taking the RAM out and running. What's your take on that, Ethos?
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I was going to ask you if you saw about the Chinese RAM too.
No, what happened?
About that China's company is about to start selling RAM and it's only going to cost 168. We're getting another century of American humiliation.
Well, it doesn't matter for us stateside. For the rest of the world, that's great. But for us, it's going to get tariffs, so it doesn't matter.
They're talking about getting, but they're talking about getting it to the U.S. customers too.
Well, it's going to get tariffs, so it's going to be the same price as the RAM over here.
Yeah, probably.
But it doesn't really matter. The only thing I want to say about this story is don't turn Costco into Sam's Club. Costco is not safe space. Take that ghetto shit to Sam's Club. Go to BJ's with that shit.
Costco is like the Target of wholesale.
I couldn't believe this story.
Yeah, I was like, damn, man, because I go to Costco pretty often as well. I was like, man, like, I know we were joking, talking about like people flexing the RAM while you're rich, but like they really stealing it. Like people are really tripping out, man, about this RAM situation. So I'm like, damn, man, we in a doomsday event, bro. If y'all still a RAM out of the display computer, like that's insane.
Get it together, world. The new Super Mario Bros. Galaxy movie. The trailer shows off Yoshi. They confirmed he is Mexican. Any thoughts on this, Watts?
The trailer actually looked pretty good.
Are you joking? Hold on.
Did you watch the trailer? He's some type of Latino. I think he's Mexican, bro.
No, hold on. I gotta
watch the trailer.
It looks good.
They look like they're in some Mario version of Mexico. They pulling up with the sombreros. They find him in a cave. I think he's Mexican, bro.
True.
They did have sombreros.
I think he's Mexican, bro.
It was Dia de los Muertos.
I always rooted for Yoshi. I've got more reason to now.
There's no shot.
They about to say, "Hola, Mario."
People were very excited about Yoshi, though.
It looks fun. The trailer, I was like, this is a pretty fun trailer.
Yoshi's my
go. I'm gonna see it for sure.
I love Mario. I love the first movie. I'm excited to see it. Don't trust the reviews because they lied on the last one. It was a great movie for kids. And then last but not least, a couple quick things. So in web browser news and just technology is fascinating the way that it's like developing. You can now play a roller coaster tycoon type of game in your web browser at iso-coaster.com, and it's co-op. It's totally free. Look it up. It's pretty cool. And then also you can play Super Monkey Ball, a GameCube classic, in your web browser for free. If you go to monkeyball-online.pages.dev, the link is on the screen. I thought this was pretty fucking cool, especially in this day and age where people say there's nothing to fucking play. Well, now you can play a classic for free in your web browser. Upgrade that PS4, get a job. That's all I got for you guys on the Game Illuminati. Wait, does anybody have anything else they want to add before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I'm waiting for next week. My time to shine next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Next week's show gonna be 75% wise.
We might want to start an hour earlier.
All right, well, you got the floor. Ladies first. What is your closing statement for Game Illuminati episode 175 was?
I have 15 hours in Neo 3. I will have many more. Next week, see how high I can make the number.
Ethos, what's your closing statement for episode 175? Go.
Shout outs to Bungie. Thanks so much for the collector edition. I ain't gonna lie, it's sexy. I can't wait to play it next month. Or maybe even earlier. We'll see.
Chillin'.
You know it. Top chill, baby.
Why don't you chill for an interview? Tell them come on the show.
I can chill for an interview. I'll pick up my dead phone right now.
Yeah, tell them hop on the show. Let's go. They need some good PR.
Actually, I might be able to get somebody. Let me see. I'll reach out. I'll see what they say.
Shoot that DM. JG,
it's Black History Month. They owe me something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Black History Month is like it's like when Sozen Comic comes around to Fire Nation.
Yeah, we get a buff.
We
get an additional buff.
JG, what's your closing statement for episode 175?
Yeah, speaking of Black History Month, Kendrick Lamar has officially won the most nominations out of any hip hop artist. So shout out to him. Yeah, he continued to make Drake fans mad. I still don't know why they're mad. 2026.
Kendrick just opened his mouth. I'm gonna go get him a Grammy right now.
Drake wasn't even mentioned outside of the battle. Trevor Noah made a joke about that. So I was watching the Grammys. It was a pretty good time. But other than that, man, I have nothing else to say, man. We will be back next week.
Oh, fair enough. And if you made it to this part of the show, I am aware that Watt's camera was messing up. It is what it is. This is what you get when we do a weekly show. Sometimes the mic's gonna mess up. Sometimes the camera gonna mess up. But we pushing through it. So if you made it this far in the show, leave a comment at the YouTube version, the youtube.com/GI updates. Leave a comment saying fix your camera. # fix your camera.
It ain't me.
It's always TBH. It's always TBH.
I saw Watch and Ethos the entire time.
I saw Watch.
Yeah, I can't see TBH.
See?
We already know your issues before we even start.
Yeah.
We were late because of your issues.
Yeah.
Hit the like button for Black History Month, and we'll see you next week on the Game and Illuminati podcast. Peace.
Peace out.